I feel really good actually looking at the team. A lot of the points that have been made already are relevant. I mean, Patterson is a much more attacking fullback or wing back in this situation than O'Donnell. Gilmore and Christie in that midfield area alongside John McGinn, for me, it tells you about the attacking intent that Steve's trying to put together tonight. So that's great. Robertson and Tierney back together again. I think that was an error. I think Steve in his quieter moments might say that himself. Nisbet scores goals. I think Dykes has done well in the games that he's had opportunities in. The biggest thing for me is John McGinn coming back into the team. I feel he'll bring goals. He doesn't just bring goals, Richard, he brings energy. And I think that's something at times that when we lost, sort of Scott Brown stopped playing, we kind of lost that drive from midfield, I think. And I think McGinn can provide that. He's not the same type of player, of course, but that aggression and running power is something that the opposition don't like, and it's also quite infectious. You know, when people see John McGinn doing it, then they do it themselves. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the team. Let's see what happens now.
Just in terms of John McGinn, Craig, he had that goal-scoring burst. He had those 6 goals in 3 matches against San Marino, Cyprus, Kazakhstan. That was late in 2019. Then, of course, there was a big delay before international football got going again. I think we've played 17 games since the resumption. He's only scored in 1 of them, and that was a double against the Faroes. So it would be good to see him rediscover that goal-scoring touch from midfield, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and the important thing tonight is the position that he's playing in. He's been looks like he's been given licence to support the front two or even get beyond the front two at times. So, and I think he's more chance of scoring goals when he plays higher up the field like that. That's just simple, common sense. But for me, it's his drive and energy that we don't have another player in the team who's got that real drive and power, and and he loves a challenge. He gets that backside of his stuck out, and people can't get anywhere near the ball. And I just think he's an infectious player for the supporters and for the rest of his teammates. And
he'll be bursting. So let's bring Tom English in. Tom, he'll be bursting, and he said so, didn't he, to get back into action after being forced to miss out on the Denmark game.
Absolutely. I mean, particularly it would have been difficult watching the game the other night if you're John McGinn. He'll be raring to go tonight. This is the type of opposition that he does do well against in terms of goals scored. You look at the goals you mentioned before: San Marino, Cyprus, Kazakhstan,
and the Faroes. That's the bulk of his international goals. I think the only other one was against Russia.
Yeah, and Austria.
I may have missed that one somewhere.
Yeah, with the bicycle.
Oh
kick.
yes, of course. How could you miss that
famous
one?
Famous already. To be fair, the best one of all.
To be fair, it was two goals. 2 games of the 17 since that he scored. And yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So look, he's a very important player. It looks like it's going to be a 3-4-1-2, isn't it? With McGinn being the 1. If that's the case, that's the kind of same way they lined up against England, which was probably Steve Clarke's best performance as Scotland manager. And with obviously quite a few personnel changes from that night. But look, there's nowhere to go tonight. There has to be a win. There's nowhere else to go after that. If they don't win, then the skies above Hampden are going to open up, and something unpleasant is going to come down on his head. So they have to win, and they have to go to Vienna and win again. And realistically, I heard Steve's interviews looking back on the opening 2 draws, and he said, and the win against the Faroes. It's good. It's a good start. It's not a good start. But in theory, you look at the group table before the other night. You thought, they're in a decent place. It's just healthy enough points tally. It's not enough. If you want to get into a playoff place, it isn't enough. So they needed more. And I think Steve Clarke might be kidding himself if he thinks that was a good start. And I think he's kidding himself if he thinks that anything other than 6 points for the next 2 games is going to put them back in the hunt. I don't think it is.
Yeah, they're certainly playing catch-up, aren't they? And first step is tonight. Right, it's a landmark, Stuart, for Andy Robertson. 50th cap for Kieran Tierney, 25th cap. Andy, the Scotland captain, of course, he becomes the 33rd member of the Scottish FA Hall of Fame. That's the way those two team up, the way they cover for each other and dovetail, if you like, and quite often Robertson will tuck in and allow Tierney to burst forward, won't he? Do you see that as being a key element tonight?
Yeah, I think it's perfect for Kieran. I know I think it was Michael Stewart prior to Euros thinking, we maybe should play a back four and play Tierney as a left centre half. But for me, I don't think he can play in a back two. I think this is perfect for him. His strengths are going forward, there's no doubt about that. When he was at Celtic and at Arsenal now, he flies down, puts crosses in, he's got great quality in the final third. And I see, him doing that tonight. He will step in with the ball. He'll go beyond Robertson at times. They've got a nice little triangle down the left, be it McGinn, Robertson and Tierney. And I think that's a positive part of the side. And as you say, 50 caps for Andy Robertson, terrific. And obviously Tierney getting his 25th as well.
Will, are you happy to accept Andy Robertson into your exclusive club?
Well, Richard, you get there with performances, and you get there by impressing the manager, and he constantly picks you, so he's more than welcome. I mean, he's a top player, isn't he? So I think he'll go on to achieve many more than I achieved. He's only, 15 away, I think. That's my arithmetic.
Yeah, 65
right? So he'll get more than that. I mean, what age is he now anyway, Andy? He's still a young man, isn't he? 26. Oh, dear me. I mean, you're looking at 100, you're looking at the ton. I think if you're Andy Robertson, you're captain of your nation as well, speaks well, handles himself. Really.
He's 27.
27, real efficient. So he's probably got about another 10 years.
Yeah, quite possibly.
So, and with the amount of games that he play at international level now, you could see him reaching that landmark and doubling the 50. But he's more than done enough to tell everyone out there that he's well worthy of that 50th cap, and let's hope he goes on to get many more.
I mean, I guess the surprise is that Kieran is only earning his 25th, albeit he's 3 years younger than Andy, but he seems to have been around a long time. He has, of course, had terrible injury problems that have severely curtailed his appearances, but if he can stay fit, he's another one, isn't he? He's got another 3 years on Andy. He could be right up there too.
Yeah, without a doubt. Two fantastic players. I think we're blessed with the fact that we've got that type of quality. But the quality's got to shine through, and Tom's spoken about this on a number of occasions. It's got to shine through with performances. We constantly say that we've got quality out there, and I believe that. I think most of us believe that we've now got players playing at a high level, with the qualities required to bring that club level to international level and perform at the highest stage. And the highest stage is obviously qualifying for European Championships and World Cups. Now, unfortunately, the European Championship, we did have one very, very good performance against England, but the other two weren't. So, we can only give an opinion that the quality is there. It's up to the players to actually go out and prove us right and perform and bring that quality to the field of play, and get us qualified for more tournaments than the Euros, and maybe do it a little bit more efficiently. I know that's a lot to ask, having went through these qualifying campaigns myself, and it seems to go right to the wire. But with the quality they've got, I don't see why that shouldn't be a target for Steve Clarke. I think it hasn't been a particularly outstanding start to this campaign, but they're still in it, and depending on the result, of course, in the other game tonight, Richard, then we could still be in with a shout, but we've got to win tonight. I don't think anybody is saying anything otherwise, but let's hope these two will be servants of the national team for many years to come, because they're well worth watching.
Nathan Patterson, Craig, you mentioned it, and I think the rest of the guys did as well. He's perhaps getting the nod ahead of Stephen O'Donnell, because the feeling is he offers more going forward. It almost struck me that Stephen O'Donnell actually offered plenty going forward, and is clearly a more experienced defender. Is it just simply that because of the level of opposition, the manager feels this is I was going to say, it's not a gamble, is it? I mean, we've seen Nathan Patterson. We know how good Nathan Patterson is, but that's why he's tipped the favour of Patterson ahead of O'Donnell.
Yeah, and also I look at the makeup of the midfield, and I just digressing ever so slightly here. There isn't. I mean, if it was going to be a situation where there's going to be a holding midfield player, then McGregor would have played, and McGregor isn't playing. So for me, he's got three. Christie, as we know, generally plays in the front line, off a side.
Yeah.
McGinn bombs on, and Gilmore's the one who'll sit. So behind those three midfield players, he's put in probably our quickest centre-backs. So the plan there for me is that we might be open, we might lose the ball and get counter-attacked, but we've got real pace on the back line. Also on the side, I think Patterson's much quicker than O'Donnell.
Yeah.
To come back to your point, and I think recovery runs, if we do give the ball away and we're open, they'll need to be quick. They'll need to get back in as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of pace in that team.
Right, he came on, Tom, I think at half-time, didn't he, against Luxembourg? He came on very late against Croatia. He's in limited game time this season.
I think it's just in Firmland, isn't it? Is that the only game he's played?
He played a European game as well, Tom.
Yeah.
So he did. Yeah.
But he's played two. He started 2 games.
Started 2 games.
So it's a first. I mean, it's a first international start for Nathan. Obviously, he's proved that he's been excellent, hasn't he? Yeah, he played in the 5-0 win over Dunfermline, the 0-0 game away to Alashkert. So he's had the 2 games.
I'm excited about his inclusion.
Yeah.
I think he could be a terrific player. I'd want to see more of him. We spoke on the programme a while ago about I was campaigning for him to be included in the Rangers team because he hasn't had much of a look in. But I think he could be a very, very good player. He's a hell of an athlete. He's very quick. He needs to learn, obviously, because he's only a kid, but he's very exciting. And I think this is a good game to put him in there. Maybe O'Donnell is going to play against Austria. Maybe McGregor is going to play. Maybe a few others are going to play. Fraser might come in. Adams might come in. But for this game, I think this is a great game to put him in.
Actually, just in terms of those changes, I did wonder about that. Stuart, Callum McGregor in particular, has played so much football, hasn't he, in the last 3 years or so.
But Craig actually beat me to the point, because I was going to say I think it'll be McGinn and Christie going and joining in, and Gilmore will be sort of like the 6 and sit in there, because if he was going to play it the other way with McGinn supporting, then he would have played Callum McGregor alongside Billy. So I see it as Gilmore trying to get his playing, getting on the ball, Christie and McGinn, going and joining in with Dykes and Nisbet, and as you say, pace on the sides with Robertson and Patterson. Yeah, so the actual looking at the setup of the side, Craig's mentioned it there about the pace in the team as well. It's on paper is very exciting, but going back to, I would say, Tom's point, for me, I don't think it's a must-win 6 points. I think 4 points. I think if somebody give us, I thought before the 3 games of treble head, I thought realistically we're probably losing Denmark. I don't want to be negative, I'm quite a positive person. Beat Moldova and let's take a point in Austria and come away with 4 points, and I think we'll still be in it. Tonight, what we don't need is Austria going and winning in Israel.
Well, I was just going to say, because we did Alan Preston in the earlier programme, had said that he's looked and he thinks he hopes Scotland can get to 18 points. I did a quick up sum, and kind of Austria, if results go as you might anticipate, they would also possibly get to 18 points, but that is dependent on them not winning in Haifa and not beating us.
Yeah, that's right. But I think, but here's one for you. We'd take 4 points now, or would you take 4 points now for the next 2 games? Right. Well, can you imagine?
Part of me wants to say yes, but the other part says.
But what about,
yes,
what about
I would.
The scenario?
I would.
What about the scenario? Austria drawing in Israel tonight. We taking a point tonight and going and winning in Austria and getting you 4 points that way.
But where's the evidence?
We'll definitely take that.
No. But what I'm saying is,
but hypothetically, that's fine, sure. But where's the evidence to say that this team is capable of going to Austria and winning? There isn't any.
No. But what I would say, I don't agree, Tom, with you saying it needs to be 6 points. I think if we can win tonight, which we need to do, and if we went to Austria, I think when we played Austria at home and we drew, look, right, we've got to match that result over in Austria. When we drew in Israel, which it can be a tough place to go, we have to beat them at home. We probably might have to take a point against Denmark, as long as we beat, obviously.
Willie made the point that is, of course, the last game.
Yes.
And by which case, Denmark will have long qualified, and he's banking on the Danes putting out the youth team.
But look, all of this stuff, we've been in this movie a million times before.
But that's part of the territory with being a Scotland football fan.
Look, I mean, you can say, and it comes down to the last game and Scotland get a point out. They mightn't get a point out of it, and it might be out of them. So while you have a chance to damage your nearest rivals. Go and damage them. Go and win in Austria. I think it's a must. I think it's a must do.
They're going to go try and win in Austria, but I don't think it's a must. We'll see how it goes tonight. Well,
I think it depends what happens in Haifa.
We'll see what happens tonight. What I'm saying is, after Wednesday's games, if some boats are no, we could be sat second again.
Yeah, if Austria win in Haifa tonight, then we almost certainly have to win in Vienna.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay, look, we'll chat more. A couple of other of the players I'd like to get your thoughts on, guys. Let's hear what Steve Clarke, though, has been saying in the build-up to this one.
Listen, we know where we are. We know what this week was all about. We need points that keep us in contention towards the end of the group stage, so that we're always fighting. So we come October, November, we're in the mix for qualification, and we still have that in front of us. We need a performance and we need a win against Moldova, and that's what we focus on. And obviously, after the last result, it's going to be more difficult to be first. Is second still attainable? Then very much so. Yeah, we can definitely get 2 wins in the next 2 games. Whether we need them or not will be determined by how the other games pan out. We have to get a positive performance, a win, and get 3 points on the board and see where that takes us. They'll come. They'll be well organised defensively. They made it difficult for Austria, so we expect them to come. Be resolute. They're a threat from set plays. We'll treat them with every respect, but we look to go out and put on a performance for ourselves and for the fans. Yeah, I think it'll be good for the players. They enjoyed the little taste of it with the 12,500 at the Euros. They enjoyed that taste. They enjoyed the atmosphere, and if we can get the crowd rocking, good fast start, get the crowd behind us, Hampden will be a nice place to be. It's just about winning with a good performance. That's what it's about. Shuffle the pack a little bit, freshen it, certain positions.
Moldova ranked 175 in the world. There'll be an expectancy from the Tartan army to win.
We have to win. Nobody's shying away from that. We have to win. And if we can win and play well, it'll be great. If we can just win, then that'll be fine. The lads have been good in training. There's a little edge to them. I can feel it already. They know they're going to a pivotal moment in the group, so let's see what we produce.
When there is a defeat, is there a heavy weight then comes on the shoulder of the players, and do you feel it as a manager?
We're used to it. It's obviously a little bit heavier because it's the national team, and you feel as though you've let the country down a little bit, but it's not the case. We're football, we're professional, we understand the job is a low midweek and hopefully a high at the weekend. It's all about ups and downs and how you deal with it. Try not to get too high when you win and try not to get too low when you get beat.
Steve Clarke, I mean, that is a mantra, and he pretty much, you've got to say, he pretty much does abide by that, doesn't it? He doesn't get too hyper either way. Well, he did say that clearly they would love to win the game in Vienna, but first and foremost got to win this one this evening. Stuart, there's been a bit of reaction. Certainly John McGinn reacted yesterday when he talked about people in the media. He said, I think he actually said, look, I've not seen the criticism, but if people have been criticising the manager, I would just say that they've got a short memory. And when we're discussing this earlier in the programme, I don't know if it's altogether fair, given that they got plenty of praise, didn't they, when they qualified and everything they did, and we were all thrilled. But you've got to assess what you're watching, haven't you? In the past 11 games, it's 2 wins against a couple of minnows. It's not been brilliant since then, has it?
No, it's a fair comment. And I think once Steve made his selection the other night, he leaves himself open to criticism if the result don't go well, because obviously there's been changes. People point to Robertson playing on the right hand side naturally straight away, and I think as a manager you expect that, and you've got to take it on the chin, but you can't let it worry you. You've got to move on to the next game and get a good positive performance tonight. It doesn't surprise me John McGinn's come out and said that. I think players are should be or usually are quite loyal to your manager, but I'm sure you've had this debate, Richard, and obviously I was down south at the time watching the game, and I don't know what people's perception of was, but when I looked at the group of players that he had available to him, the right hand side obviously was a problem, and moving Robertson, it's easy to jump on that, and I get that, but I honestly didn't know when I looked at myself if I'd been a manager, who would I put at right wing
Ryan
back?
Fraser was the one that we wondered about.
Well, the thing is with Ryan Fraser will always play as a wing back against Moldova, Faroe Islands. It's like if you're going away, say with Aberdeen and playing in European football, You don't go play a little lad on the right hand side like a McGinn or a Johnny Hayes. I know Hayes has gone back. He's an attacking player, is Fraser. He's not a defensive wing back. You're going to Denmark, you know you're going to be without the ball for a long time. You're going to have to be at your best defensively. So I didn't get the Ryan Fraser. Now at 2-0 down, you've got to do something. You've got to get back in the game. So I get that. But when I looked at the other options, what were the other options at the right wing back? Was it Jack Hendry? Could he? I don't know. Somebody mentions Lewis Ferguson, which he's probably never done. So I get it, and Steve will understand that criticism will come his way when that happened. But the Ryan Fraser one for me, I think if he'd have played Ryan Fraser as a right wing back against Denmark away, it would have got. We probably would have got done a bit more. Now, and that's not negative, that's sensible. I'm sure in that setup it was a difficult one to lose O'Donnell and lose Patterson. Obviously knew about Patterson, O'Donnell was a bit later. I think I do generally, I've not felt for him, but I understood. But I also would have thought as a manager, once I make this decision, I'm opening myself up. There's going to be criticism come my way if we lose this game. And obviously,
I don't know what you've done. My view on this is you know, when you've got a problem in the team, then just do one thing.
Yeah, I get that.
It, you know, and I thought that we all wondered how we were going to get Tierney and Robertson into the team. Yeah. Well, we found out, you know, that those two actually can play really well together. Kieran Tierney at left-sided centre-back and Robertson in his wing-back role, and it's worked really, really well. And listen, I agree, and I've been in the situation where you've got to make these calls, and of course, if you get it wrong, you get criticised for it. Over the years, I just realised that if you can make one change rather than two, it has less impact on the team, and that was my only sort of criticism of that decision.
100% on that.
And also, I mean, if you don't have a right wing back, don't play one. Don't try and manufacture one.
Well, who would have played right back, Tom?
Kieran Tierney has played right back in international football and has done well. I know it's, but at least you're keeping Andy Robertson on the left-hand side of the pitch.
I think that was the big surprise, wasn't it? The fact that it was Robertson on that side rather than Tierney,
as opposed to Tierney. But I don't think
play a four at the back. Is this slavish adherence to three at the back, even when you don't have someone to play right wing back? You're asking somebody to slot in there who doesn't know how to play there.
The thing is, though, guys, you do have a right wing back, and it's Ryan Fraser. I says that before the game. He's played there for Bournemouth. I understand what Stuart's saying, but sure, you've also got three gorillas centre backs there. Well, you have. I mean, these are guys that are defenders, and they prove that they're defenders. And why are two of them not playing tonight is because they are defenders, and they're not very good with the use of the ball, in my opinion. I think Cooper and McKenna in particular, I think Grant Hanley can get away with it, but we're never going to build up from the back, I don't think, with the three of them. So they're in to defend, and I think you've got to give defenders responsibility and ask them to defend. But Ryan Fraser has played there with Bournemouth, and I know that he's comfortable playing there. And before the game, that was who I would have played there. And I know the reasons that you're saying, that you're going away from home, you're going away against a top team, and you might get slaughtered by playing Ryan Fraser there. And I understand in there, although he scored goals in there, he scored against, what team did he score against recently? Was that not in there, Richard? Maybe I'm wrong in
sorry, who had scored?
Anyway, Ryan Fraser.
Yeah, he scored against Israel and he scored against the Faroes. Yeah,
but the thing is that Kieran Tierney get done at the back post in the air as well. So, I just think that, and I'm with Craig, and we've spoken, I don't know how many hours was spoken before when Kieran Tierney was out injured. How are we going to get Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson in this team? And the manager has come up with a formation that's worked so well, isn't it? With Tierney playing the left centre back, and obviously he's playing there for his club as well, and Andy Robertson outside him, and the interchange, and it's a real threat coming down that side. And that would have been a threat coming down that side, in my opinion, against the Danes, and it would have been interesting to see how they would have handled that. So I think we did have a wing back, but I understand what you're saying.
I'm sure in hindsight, Willie, he'll look at it and probably agree with you, and I'm just saying, prior to the game, going into that game, I don't think he had loads of options. Yeah, he had Fraser, but it would have been a brave decision, I think, to go and play a lad who's probably more favourable going forward and plays a lot as a number 10. I know he's played as a wing back before, but that's when you're expecting to have a lot of the ball and go forward. If if they'd have gone into the night, Denmark played an out-and-out left winger up against him, it had probably torn him to bits. Now, what Steve did,
he wasn't torn to bits.
Yeah, but different situations of the game, isn't it, obviously? But what I would say is that once that decision's made by Steve, then that's it. He's open to criticism, and I'm sure he's got a fair bit for it. And you know that's why you're a manager and you make them decisions. And just hopefully tonight, looking ahead and looking forward with a bit of optimism, we're all, I think, quite happy with the team he's picked, and it's a positive team. And then we'll see what happens in Austria.
Well, on the plus side, he's got right wing backs coming out of his ears this evening. He's got Stephen O'Donnell on the bench. He's got Nathan Patterson making a first start. More chat with the guys in a moment or two. Let's hear from one man who I think we're all delighted to see back in the national side, earning his 37th cap, midfielder John McGinn.
I'm chomping at the bit. Probably the worst guy to be 10 days in the house, but managed to get through it. Fortunate that Villa dropped off a treadmill, so trying to stay as fit as possible and keep my head right. So fine now, glad to be back with the boys and hope I can help it. It's important for us now to try and get smiles back on faces and get a positive result, which we badly need. But it doesn't take long when you've got a job in hand. We're professionals, we're used to dealing with criticism if things don't go well, and when we don't win we'll get criticised. That's just not natural and normal, so we're all used to it. You develop a thick skin, but it certainly makes victories sweeter and you enjoy them a lot more. So hopefully over 35,000 at Hampden, we're all really looking forward to it, and it's about us going and getting the 3 points and entertaining at the same time if we can. We definitely need to be realistic. It's going to be very tough to catch Denmark. They're a top side, and they proved it the other night, very streetwise, and the way they handled the game is something we can probably learn from. So that's maybe a little bit out of reach. We'll not give up trying to get there, but it would take a bit of a miracle for Denmark not to finish top. So 3 teams now battling out for second, and it's up to us to get the results to get us there. We've just got to take it each game as it comes and start getting wins again and make sure we get that second spot. International football these days, what we've learned is it's never easy, but in games where we expect to win at home, recently we've dealt with them pretty well. We've scored early, and that's an important thing. We need to get an early goal if we can, but we respect Moldova. The only good thing about not being able to be involved was I did catch bits of Moldova Austria, and towards the end they had chances to get a point. They were tired towards the end, but they were still in the game right to the 93rd minute, so they're definitely no mugs, and if it does take to the 85th minute to get the goal, then the 3 points is all that matters at the end of the day. We have belief, but it's easy for me to sit there and say all the right things. It's just important for us to start doing it on the park. I think everyone knows the ability we've got in the squad, so I don't need to harp on about it, and we're still capable. We went the hard way to the Euros in the summer. We've given ourselves an uphill task to finish first, but second's definitely well within reach, and we need to go and get 3 points, and then we'll take it for there. We'll get chances, and it's up to players like myself, the strikers who are all in good form for their clubs, Nizzy, Shea, Lyndon especially, on great form for QPR. So there's goals in there, and it's just about us being clinical, getting goals again. I think we're more than capable of getting those goals, and hopefully I can have another flurry as well.
Yeah, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it, to see John do that again, right? He talked about the strikers there. I'd be interested in getting the guys' thoughts. So Lyndon Dykes has played 5 games for QPR. He scored in his last 3 this season in wins against Hull, Middlesbrough and Coventry. On the international scene, he scored in his second game for Scotland. He scored in his 4th. He hasn't scored in his last 12 international appearances. Kevin Nisbet, it's a first start. 6 sub-appearances. Scored, of course, against Holland most of the games. He's been given fairly limited time on the park. So, Craig, is it a striking partnership that excites you?
Yeah, you know, I like Dykes. I think he leads from the front. He's aggressive. He runs the channels. He's good in the air. I know at times a little bit of quality, his quality lets him down sometimes, but I do love his attitude. I also think as well that Nisbet's making his starting debut tonight, and for me, when he plays at Hibs, he plays alongside Dodge, doesn't he? It's like a big guy, and I think that maybe he's looked at Nisbet's strengths and maybe thought that up alongside Dykes he might get quite a bit from him, and it gives him that kind of partnership he has at his club. So that might be one of the reasons why Steve has chosen to put him in alongside Dykes rather than go with Adams.
No, we're just seeing Andy Robertson leading his team out, Lyndon Dykes and Kevin Nisbet included, of course. Andy winning his 50th cap. The Scotland captain has been for the last couple of years. What a milestone it is as he becomes the 33rd member of the Scottish FA Hall of Fame. The Scotland players out and lined up on the pitch. The Moldovan players are coming out and about to join them there. Great to see such a big crowd inside Hampden once more. And of course we're now just 5 or 6 minutes away from kickoff. A huge match ahead for the national team. You can hear the announcements in the background for the national anthems. Rounding rendition of the Moldovan national anthem. Now Hampden will join in for Flower of Scotland. Well, going by some of the close-ups of the fans, drink has been taken in the build-up to this one. Really interesting to 10 of the players singing along there. Kieran Tierney is always completely zoned out. When you see the camera going across the team like that, he's just in his own little world as he focuses and concentrates in the way he has to. Stuart, just a quick thought. Victory, 3 points.
Victory, 3 points. Hopefully the atmosphere is exactly the same as the last time out against Croatia. I was there, 12,500. It felt like a full house. Obviously want a better result, but hopefully they've got the voices and ready to go and back the players to a victory.
Well, let's hope that very much is the case. Remember the other matches in our group this evening: Faroe Islands against Denmark, and the big one, Israel against Austria. Keep you across those, but it is full live commentary. Scotland against Moldova with Willie Miller, Craig Levine and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, it's been a grey old day in Glasgow. Dark clouds above, the floodlights shining down on the Hampden playing surface as Scotland take on Moldova for just the third time. It was the qualifying campaign for the 2006 World Cup in Germany that they last met. The first meeting in October 2004 cost Bertie Vogts his job as Scotland manager. Stephen Thompson's goal was only enough to secure a 1-1 draw against the Minnows in Chisinau. Votes only lost 5 of his 14 competitive games, but only won 3 of his 17 friendlies, which left his record looking pretty woeful. And it was that night in Moldova that did for him. The other meeting was a 2-0 Scotland victory under Walter Smith at that point. Subs Daly and McFadden scored for the hosts here at Hampden, but that was still a nervy afternoon. The result resurrected their hopes of a place in Germany, only to be halted a few days later in Belarus in a goalless draw. Craig Gordon started both those games against Moldova. It will feel like a lifetime ago for the Hearts captain, who starts in goal for the Scots. Hendry, Hanley and Tierney, who gets his 25th cap. Patterson and Robertson, who gets his 50th cap. McGinn, Gilmer, Christie. McGinn just ahead of those two. And Dykes and Nisbet. Christie will get up there to support too, of course. And the Scots all in navy blue, and the white names and numbers on the backs of the shirts. Will go left to right, shooting towards the east stand at Hampden in this first half, as we watch up high in the south stand above the Scotland technical area. Moldova in all red with white flashes will shoot towards Mount Florida in these opening 45 minutes. Just about ready to go. The Belgian referee is just waiting for the nod from the TV floor manager down below us before he gets things underway. The officials all from Belgium, including the VARs, who are on site as well outside the stadium, and VAR will be used in the qualifying campaign, the remainder of it, and this runs all the way through to November. The playoffs, if you can finish second in the group, are next March. Single-legged semi, single-legged final, and that looks like being Scotland's only possible route to Qatar and the Winter World Cup next year. Scotland will kick off, then Billy Gilmer's going to get the first touch of the ball here in this must-win game in Glasgow against the team ranked 175th in the FIFA World Rankings. They don't tend to pick up too many points. Just the one in the group so far, which came in a 1-1 with the Faroes. There are minnows as well, as that's booted clear up towards the halfway line. Scotland with the first attack of the game. That's headed out there by Poternich, the right-sided centre-half for Moldova this evening. Most of their players are either home-based in Moldova or they play across the border in Romania, as that drops out for a throw-in to the visitors over on the far side, Midway inside their own half on the north stand side of the stadium. The Moldovans had Austria 1-0 only going into the closing stages of that one before Arnautovic made it 2-0 to beef up the scoreline, as that's played to Jack Hendry in the centre circle from Grant Hanley. We've been over the course of these games many times before, Willie Miller and Craig Levine. Indeed, Craig's been in the home dugout in games like this, perhaps for the Tartan Army, come up expecting a barrel load of goals. It doesn't always pan out that way. I think, Craig, back to that game against Macedonia in particular for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get in front early, it can be a nervous evening. It really can be. And, you know, the longer the game goes and the more frustrating it becomes, and the players get nervous as well. So, yeah, hopefully we can go off to a good start here. Here
comes John McGinn driving forward, trademark run wide right. Patterson into the box. Patterson goes for goal himself, but he slices his left foot effort well wide of that left-hand post. Really good play by John McGinn. That's the kind of thing they missed in the park in the other night, Willie.
Well, it gets you up the park, doesn't it? I mean, you know, all on his own there, picking the ball up in his own half and driving, 35 yards, and then setting Patterson in. I think Nathan Patterson, gets it onto his left foot and he decides to have the strike. Maybe better go on and try to hit the byline. He had plenty of blue jerseys in the box. Maybe even picking one out with that left foot was perhaps the better option for him, because the shot, you know, was quite well passed. But yeah, good opening start from Scotland, very positive. I don't think we expect anything other than that from John McGinn, though, do we?
Referee didn't like Jack Henry's leap over Radu Jinsari, where's the number 11 playing in the number 10 position. Scotland win it back very quickly from the free kick, and it's McGinn into the Moldova half, finds Christie. Now of Bournemouth, of course, having left Celtic. Out to the left for Robertson, skips away from a couple of players to the edge of the box, works the 1-2, almost got it back, and it bounces off his knee, off the defender, and behind for a goal kick. Really good play again by Scotland, and it was a lovely little give and go between Robertson and Nisbet on the edge of the Moldova box. It's nothing each, almost 3 in.
Yeah, the encouraging thing for me there, Liam, was there's 6 Scotland players in the box there in that attack, so the intent is really there, and you know that's McGinn already done 2 fantastic bits of work already.
Well, since winning the playoff final on penalties in Belgrade last November, just 2 wins in 11 for Scotland. They need that to improve if they are to stand a chance of threatening the runners-up position in this group. And they need 3 points tonight. In all likelihood, they'll need 3 points in Vienna on Tuesday. That's for another day. And I will keep you up to date with how the Austrians and Israelis are getting on. They meet in Haifa this evening. That goes out for a throw into Scotland, taken short by Patterson to Gilmour, who stabs it back the way to Hendry on the halfway line. Side foots it to Hanley, who shifts it to the left for Tierney. He'll go all the way back to Craig Gordon. He'll hope for the next few years, in his opinion anyway, that he can maintain the Scotland jersey, citing Gianluigi Buffon as his inspiration. And Buffon still playing in the second tier in Italy with Parma, his first club, as Patterson picks up on this near side, works the 1-2 with McGinn. Patterson driving forward, rides the first challenge, which eventually is going to be given as a free kick to Moldova for a foul there by Patterson as he drove forward there. It was good play from him. He managed to get away from Igor Armas, who is the Moldova skipper, but then fouls the other defender, and it's a free kick to the visitors deep inside their own half. Scotland 0, Moldova 0. 4.5 played in Glasgow.
Liam, do you know what? I think that should be a free kick.
It is a free kick.
You know, because Patterson,
to Scotland,
to Scotland, because Patterson's had to jump his opponent who's lunged in at him, and that allowed the other Moldovan to come round and cover. So it should have been a free kick to Scotland.
Well, flicked by Dykes, will be turned back to the goalkeeper by Vadim Bolahan. Very experienced player at the heart of the Moldova defence, 35 years of age. And it's back with the goalkeeper, Christian Avram, who boots it clear with the right foot out to this near side. Foul this time goes Scotland's way. Jack Hendry is brought down there by Oleg Ryabchuk, who I mentioned at the start of the programme when I was doing the team lines is probably he's definitely Moldova's top talent out there. Plays for Olympiacos in Greece and gets his game as well for the Greek Giants, as Craig Gordon prepares to take this free kick level with his 18-yard line on this near side, long with the left boot. Dykes flicks on. Nisbet's cushion header to Christie in the middle of the park. Finds Dykes. That looked like a handball. The ref didn't spot it, and it will be Moldova to clear. Chip ball down this near side. Grant Hanley fighting and battling there with the Moldova number 9, Gechev, who goes to ground and gets the abuse from the Scotland supporters, who feel he made the most of that. It was Hanley who was strong up against the Moldova striker. It's goalless after 6 here at Hampden.
Didn't see too much in it, to be honest. I think both of them were at it. Maybe a little brush of the chin there, you know, as the striker went down. But
well, Tierney's in trouble, but Hanley's there to clear. They wanted to play a little bit too much football in an area they don't want to be playing it, as it goes out to Robertson on that left-hand side. Left of the centre circle, shifts it to the right of it for Hendry. He's just made 2 moves this summer, Jack Hendry, from Ostende now to Bruges, having left Celtic. And Moldova pinch it back in the midfield. It's going to be rolled back there to the captain Armas, and then swept clear by Bolahan out to this near side. Little chest back the way there, almost paid off there from Jinsari. They still have possession, do Moldova on the near side. The referee sounds his whistle, and that's going to go Moldova's way just inside the Scotland half. Well, Jack Hendry knows this referee. He's taken charge of him on several occasions in the Belgian top division. And early on in Haifa there has been a goal, and it's come for Israel against Austria. Israel 1, Austria 0 in Haifa. Now, if a team's going to win that, Scotland have to hope it's Israel. They've still got a chance to pick up 3 points against the Israelis, as they do, of course, against the Austrians. But you would imagine it would be easier to find those 3 points at home to Israel than it would be in Vienna against Austria, where they would still, you would think, have to pick up a point. Very early in the piece here, and indeed there. But that's 1-0 to the Israelis against Austria. That could be a big moment. Manor Solomon got the goal.
I think it's definitely good news, isn't it, Liam? And you're right, it's very early in the game, and there's still a long way to go, but I think when you're looking at it, all things taken into consideration, that result would be a real positive for Scotland.
0-0 here though. Scotland need to do their own business. As that ball back towards Hendry's a poor one, and they could be in here. Moldova down the left with Giachev, who slips, and he got to about level with the penalty spot when he slipped it, and the ball goes behind for the goal kick. But that was sloppy from the Scots. 8 minutes in at 0-0.
Yeah, I think Patterson started very nervously. I mean, his touch and things are really, for him, normally really good. And his passing there again wasn't accurate enough. And I just wonder if it's a big occasion for him, of course, and just wonder if he's experienced a little bit of nerves at the moment.
Yeah, first competitive start for your national team in front of a busy Hampden. Tierney down the left-hand side by the corner flag as he attacks the box. In comes the cross, headed away there by Armas. Back with Robertson, the Scotland supporters shouting for him to shoot. That would have been ridiculous out there. His cross is cut out though, out for a throw-in to the home team, which will be taken by Tierney about level with the 18-yard line of Moldova down that left-hand side. No goals in the early exchanges here, as the referee's obviously a bit of a fusspot. He's told Tierney to move even further forward. Don't normally need any excuse to steal some yards. Tierney's leaving it for Robertson. He bowls it to Christie, he can't control. And Moldova are able to clear down that right-hand side with Ion Jardan, who's playing on that right wing-back position for the visitors. He almost got caught by McGinn there. McGinn chasing the defender down. It's very coolly dealt with by Maxime Potternish on the right-hand side of the Moldova defence as he sidestepped away from the rampaging McGinn. And Moldova clear, almost 10 in at 0-0.
I think the thing about Moldova though is that they keep the two up top, so there's always, an outlet for them. They haven't done too much with it, but when they're put under pressure at the back, they've got to play it long. At least they've got two targets.
Free kick Scotland. Jack Hendry caught down on the near side by Ryabchuk. Hendry takes the free kick short to Gilmore inside the centre circle. Right footed out to the left hand side for Robertson, who sweeps it back into his own half for Kieran Tierney. Along the ground out to Robertson in the touchline. He's moving up towards the midway point of the Moldovan hat. Short ball to Christie, just a little bit too much on it for Christie to be able to control though. And Moldova win it back in the midfield with Artur Ionita, and it's rolled all the way back to the keeper. It takes a pretty nervy looking touch, but eventually gets rid of it. Does Avramch, the second cap, made his debut against Austria the other night. And it's Moldovan possession on the right hand side there with Jardan. Short ball in field there to Rata, who plays in Romania. It's a poor touch from him, and it goes out for a Scotland throw-in, which Robertson is going to take 11 goalless minutes in at Hampden Park. Looking for some movement, and what they don't want is to become embroiled in not just a battle with the Moldovans, but potentially in a battle with the supporters, because there comes a point against Minnows at Hampden when you don't get that early goal. There comes a point when the supporters begin to get frustrated, and they're not slow to voice that opinion. As Robertson picks up on the left-hand side, his cross takes a deflection off the defender, and Scotland have a corner over on that far side. 11 and a half played at 0-0.
I think you're going to need patience as well though. I can understand them wanting to get that early goal, and hopefully that will come shortly. But if you don't, then you've still got to keep playing your football. You've got to keep probing, being really positive, and when you get the opportunity to attack, make sure you take it.
Gilmour takes it deep. Tierney heads it back across the face of goal, but it's headed clear. Picked up in the edge of the box by Christie. It's an up and under for Gilmour, who takes it down beautifully. What a touch, made that look so simple. Crosses in and then headed away there by Armas towards the edge of the Moldova box, and they're able to get a run on it down this near side. That's a Scotland ball. That has to be a Scotland throw. Well, it's gone the other way. Tierney slid in there on Ryabchuk. It looked as though it came off the Olympiacos defender last, but it's a Moldova throw-in given on the halfway line, and it stays 0-0 on 12.
There's no doubt that it did, and unfortunately the fourth official standing right next to it, and the assistant here as well isn't too far away. How they miss it, I don't know.
Moldova have it in the centre circle. Little ball shaped to the right there, but Ionita, and back in towards the Moldova number 7. Right-footed curling ball out there onto the chest of Rata. Back into the midfield for Ionita. Short up towards Golichev. And then it's played back onto the halfway line. Eventually it goes back to Armas on the left-hand side. It's a poor ball. Patterson read it well. Dykes to his left. Nisbet to his right. Rolls it to Nisbet. He's at the edge of the box. Low ball. Back to Patterson. What a save! But the rebound's in. Lyndon Dykes scores. 13 in. To a must-win match for Scotland. And Lyndon Dykes had these most simple of tasks to stab home the rebound after the keeper kept Patterson's effort out. Dykes scores a big goal. It's Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
I mean, it is a simple tap-in for the striker, but it's well worked, isn't it? And really positive again.
Patterson was excellent, wasn't he? He stole the ball from that short pass, and the way he's driven forward. Nisbet's clever, played it back to him. And like all good strikers, Willie, then your man's followed up, isn't he? The goalkeeper's made a save.
He's just in the right place at the right time. I mean, it is a very good save as well, isn't it? He can't really do much more with it other than just put it in the pass, but into the path of Lyndon Dykes. But you know, it's a cute little pass in from Nisbet as well for Patterson to take the return ball, and then the striking goal. And that's all you've got to do. You've got to get it in target and get the goalkeeper tested, and Dykes follows up supremely.
Lyndon Dykes' third goal for Scotland. He scored 10 goals in his last 15 club matches going into last season. And he scored in his last 3 coming into this international break as well. And Scotland make the big breakthrough. And with Israel leading 1-0 at home to Austria, it's a good start to proceedings as Christie comes down the far side and the goalkeeper holds on, with Nisbet waiting at the back post for a tap-in from the cross ball down that far side. 15 in, 1-0 Scotland.
And that's early enough for a breakthrough, isn't it? I think after 15 minutes, just on a little bit less than that, actually. I think you can class that as an early breakthrough. And, you know, you just hope that the tempo can be kept up and the intent, and I'm sure it will be. And, you know, although that they'll need to show patience as well, I'm sure that when they get the opportunity to drive to the Moldovan defence, they've got to take it, because I don't think they're particularly good when they get attacked like that.
Also, Liam, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I do think as well that what's really important now is the back three in particular, and Billy Gilmore, keep their focus. Don't fall asleep and allow a situation to arise that would give the Moldovans an opportunity to score.
Yes, and here comes Nisbet down the left-hand side away from the defenders. A couple waiting for a pull. Bad Dykes is one of them. The defender sticks out the boot and gets it away just as Dykes was waiting to have another go on goal, having given Scotland the lead just 2 minutes ago. But here come the Moldovans driving down the right-hand side here with Vadim Rata. Low ball in field. It's going to break to Jinsari on that far side. The cross ball's deep, poor though. Patterson takes it down. Little chip fancies his chances running at the number 2 of Moldova, but it's pinched back there by Ryabchuk, and then moved to that right-hand side of the pitch again here for Yardan. He's going to get it back again over on the right flank, a bit level with the edge of the D, looking for an angle to cross perhaps. Instead he rolls it back the way to Paternic, and then it goes all the way back into the Moldova half for Bolahan. Scotland with a 1-0 lead on 16.5 minutes this Saturday night here at Hampden Park. Over on the right-hand side though, it's Moldova, midway inside Scottish territory. A little bit of space there in the midfield for Jinsari, and he wants to find him, and instead it was played back by Yardan, and then the chip ball to the edge of the Scotland box is headed clear by Hanley. It's only half away though, picked up by Rata, out to the left. Ryabchuk, he's trying to work a 1-2 and he's back onto it. That might be a free kick, you know. It is to Moldova. It's a bit level with maybe the midway point between the penalty spot and the 6-yard line, and this is an opportunity for Moldova to test the Scotland defence. 1-0 the Scots lead on 17, with Israel leading Austria by 1-0. It's goalless in the Faroe Islands. The hosts up against Denmark. You wouldn't expect, despite the fact they are very friendly, the nations, you wouldn't expect Denmark to waste too much time in finding the opening goal in that one. But this is a chance for the Moldovans.
Well, it is, and it's about organisation. You know, it is one where you've got to make sure that there's communication and organisation.
Jinsari takes it, goes right through a ruck of bodies and out on the opposing side. Off a Scot though. Moldova will get a corner. over on that right-hand side in the northwest corner of the stadium. There's a big scoreboard clock. Comes close to ticking on to 18 minutes. Lyndon Dykes' goal has Scotland in a 1-0 lead here on Sports Sound, on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital and online at bbc.co.uk/sportscotland. The corner will be taken by Oleg Ryabchuk, in swinger with a left boot over on that far side. Scotland have everyone bar Ryan Christie back to defend this. And the big Belgian referee's not happy with something in the box as he goes to have a word with a couple of them. Lyndon Dykes being the Scot, as the corner is swept into the Scotland penalty area. Good header away by Jack Hendry. Picked up on the left-hand side here by Giachev. He decides to roll it all the way back onto the halfway line, though. And then the ball's played to the right of the centre circle for Vadim Bolahan. Switch of play out to this near side for Yardan into his own half. Long ball forward there by Platica. Easily away by Scotland this time as it drops out to Christie on this near side. Poor control, and out it goes for a throw into Moldova, about level with the edge of the centre circle on the Moldovan left as they attack the goal to our left. 19 in, 1-0 Scotland. Craig Levine.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the size of their back three. They're big lads, aren't they? I mean, if the quality of ball at that, either of those set pieces had been better, then it could have been trouble for Scotland, because they're quite aggressive and they've got fairly tough lads by the looks of things, and they're extremely tall. Yeah,
Armas, the skipper here, 6'4", and maybe 6'3", 6'2", the other two. As Scotland pick up a throw-in level with the edge of the centre circle on this near side, taken by Patterson, heavily involved in the Scotland goal. Poor control from McGinn, being put under serious pressure there by Ianita, who has it on this near side. Comes off Patterson, out for a throw-in to Moldova, right in front of the watching Steve Clarke. 20 in, 1-0 to Scotland. Is Steve Clarke happy, Willie Miller?
I'm sure he's happy with the goal, but the reaction since the goal, I'm sure he's a little bit disappointed with. Moldova certainly have had possession, not done a great deal with it, but obviously that set piece can always be dangerous, and it was dangerous. Thankfully nothing came of it. They are playing a lot better than they did before the goal, that's for sure, but I think Steve Clarke will be happy that they've got their nose in front, but will be looking for more intent to get forward and get that second.
Scotland supporters here in good numbers. They haven't had a 3 o'clock kickoff at Hampden on a Saturday since Craig's team played Serbia here almost exactly 9 years ago, which is remarkable that the Tartan Army haven't been able to come and watch their team play at Hampden and a 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon kickoff. It's of course due to the UEFA centralising of everything nowadays. The international week was altered as Billy Gilmer collects Midway inside the Moldova half, rolling it to Patterson on the right. Little chip ball, and it's not a great ball. He'd 3 in the middle. It's cut out there by the first defender, who was Ianita, who rolls it back the way, and we picked up here by Bolahan. 1-0 Scotland, 21 minutes in, as Patterson's adjudged to have fouled his man. It's remarkable that the supporters don't get, I mean, there will be people, it may well be different for some than others, but it's quite expensive to come down if you live in Wick or Galsby or anywhere up north, Aberdeen, to come down to Glasgow for a game. If you come for an evening kickoff, unless you fancy the 5-hour drive back up to Sutherland, you're spending money in a hotel. Everything else, it's not about the supporters in many ways anymore.
No, it isn't, and you know, it's just a testament to the supporters that they do turn up. You know, that's the thing, and the travelling doesn't seem to be a problem. And obviously it makes it much better, the journey home, if the team win.
Helps,
it's a long way if they don't.
It's Moldova in possession. Scotland with a 1-0 lead approaching the end of the first quarter of this World Cup Group F qualifier. This is the midway point once we're all done tonight of this group. And there will be 3 games next month, 2 in November, as Dykes collects in the centre circle and rolls it out to Patterson on the near side. First time low ball to Hendry. And now it's with Tierney, who picks up. In fact, it's double header next 2 months, because there's the Austria game on Tuesday, which will take the group to 6 games played, 2 next month, 2 November. And Scotland will hope the playoffs in March. Moldovan possession on this near side with Ryabchuk. Long ball up towards the halfway line. Hanley does well, just manages to get between the man and the ball. Platica. Now it's with Robertson. Tierney's gone for a little jaunt out to that left-hand side, as Hendry picks up and rolls it back to Hanley on 23 minutes. Gilmore out to Robertson on that far side. Israel have gone 2-0 up against Austria, and Manis Dabur, who scored the other night against Moldova, has got the against the Faroes rather, has got the goal as Dykes comes forward toward facing the box. Now Nisbet takes a touch, wanted too long, has it nipped off him by Ryabchuk. That was a good opportunity for Nisbet if he reacted a bit faster to that situation. And it stays Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 23.5. And just as Israel go 2-0 up against the Austrians, Scotland had a chance to do likewise here against Moldova.
It was a big chance as well, and I think you're expecting Nisbet to do much better there, to be sharper onto it and get the ball played in front of him. I think he was actually looking round and surprised that he had that much room, but nice little slip pass from Dykes, and if that touches forward, he's got a clear sight of goal, and you know, the possibility of that second.
And a brilliant pass by Gilmore into Dykes, wasn't it? Fantastic.
Ryabchuk on this near side for Moldova, midway inside the Scotland half. Short ball infield to Gachev. Gachev wanted it back, but it's going to be picked up instead here by Dean Sari. He goes for goal, well over the bar, and that will be a goal kick to Scotland, who lead 1-0. 24.5 in. But Moldova are seeing their fair share of the ball on the night so far.
Yeah, probably too much. I would say, since we scored the goal, Craig. Don't know what you think, but
yeah, I also think, Willie, they've sat off a little bit, the Moldovans. Yeah. They're allowing us to play a little bit at the back, and they're trying to steal the ball a little bit deeper and then break on us. That's a definite change from the start of the match, where they did play much higher.
One ball out to Robertson, kills it on the chest across the halfway line, rolls the ball to the left of the circle for Dykes. First time back to Tierney. Big switch to Patterson. First time forward there to McGinn's a brilliant ball, and the referee waves John McGinn to his feet as he was clattered there by Armas. No free kick. He's been given a couple to Moldova for equally soft challenges earlier in this first half, but Scotland win it back anyway with Grant Hanley, who's got himself into nosebleed territory and then eventually turns it to the left. It's with Robertson. Tierney to his left. Tierney trying to get past the defender. He couldn't quite do that though, and it breaks back to Poternich, and then the little short ball forward there to Ianita, then up towards the halfway line. Little bump by Henry's a good piece of defending, and now Robertson has it left of the circle, a central area. Misunderstanding with McGinn. We'll get on to it anyway, and he rolls it out to Patterson on the near side. Back to John McGinn. He's looking for a big switch of play, this time out to Tierney. A little cushion header for Robertson. Little bump from the defender. Did it come off the defender? Yes, it did. Corner Scotland.
You know, Liam, a goal here at a corner, just, you know, that 2-0 lead is such a big difference from this sort of nervy 1-0, and we're worried about somebody making a mistake. So I'm sure if Steve Clarke could go in 2-0 at half-time, he'd be thrilled.
Gilmore to take the corner over on that far side. The northeast corner this time is Scotland attacking the goal to the right, and it comes, it's good, there's a free header, and the goalkeeper tips it over. It was headed down by Tierney into the ground, and it's knocked over the crossbar by Armas, and it will stay Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Oh, it's a huge chance, isn't it? Too much time to think about it. It's a bad poor header, isn't it?
It's 4 or 5 yards, no, yeah, 5 yards out, unchallenged.
Yeah, great chance.
No one near him.
Great chance for Tierney. Still hasn't scored for his country, and Avram kept him out. In comes the corner from Christie. It's very deep. There's a player down. It's Dykes. The referee blows his whistle, goes against the Scotland striker, and that will be a free kick to Moldova inside their own penalty area. Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 27 minutes. And a reminder in Haifa, it is Israel 2, Austria 0, and that could be a monumental result in Group F should that come to pass.
Absolutely. It would mean Austria would have to beat us at home. You know, it would put pressure on Austria, Liam, there's no doubt about that. If that, you know, stays, it's a great result for us, and if we can take advantage of it by going over to Vienna and getting anything out of that game now. I think even a draw, I think, would look pretty tasty, because you've got Israel back here at Hampden. Yeah, I think that swings it in our favour.
Clarke's still shaking his head down.
Well, I mean, that's a huge chance to make it 2, and then they can really enjoy the night. At 1-0, you can't really enjoy it. With the possession stats sitting at around about 53-47 in Scotland's favour, they would have hoped to have been seeing more of the ball than that. As Patterson plays it first time low to Gilmour, right of the centre circle, and then out to Patterson on this near side. The two young bright hopes that have just been bled into this squad, Patterson and Gilmour. And it's been given away by McGinn, and Moldova have it back, and they are going to try and take it up towards the halfway line with Rata. Short ball into the centre circle for Gichev. Good challenge by Christie, wins it back, good footwork as well, gets away from his man, dances into the Moldova half, moving forward at pace, flick of the outside of the boot to the left hand side, chance here for Robertson, and it goes high over the crossbar from about the left angle of the 6-yard box, and Robertson will have hoped to have done much better with that than he did. On 29, Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Oh dear, what can you say? I mean, if he squares the ball, it's a tap in for Dykes, and I'm really surprised that Andy Robertson didn't just look up and he just plays the ball across the face of the goal, and Dykes is tapping it in.
It's well worked, isn't it? It's a great ball from Christie as well, just to slot him in, but get the head over, at least make the goalkeeper work as well. But I know what you're saying. He obviously didn't see Dykes, so he's intent on having the strike at goal. So if he doesn't see Dykes, it's a good position for him to put that left boot through it, put the laces through it, and get the goalkeeper testing. And like the first goal, the goalkeeper might spill it back out, and Dykes is in the perfect position to take advantage of it.
Yeah, just frustrating, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Two fantastic chances.
I hope they will not be made to pay for those later on this evening. It was against the Czechs at the Euros. He missed a big chance, Robertson, wasn't it? As Tierney comes forward, he shoots, and he at least forces the keeper to make the save. He was about 25 yards out, left the centre, low effort, looking for that bottom right. The keeper flops down onto it. Half an hour in, Scotland leading by 1-0. Still goalless in the Faroes. They're hosting Denmark, the group leaders. And Israel 2, Austria 0 in Haifa on Israel's west coast. Scotland putting the pressure on high up the pitch here, and they have it back at the edge of the penalty area. There's a chance here, there's a shot which is saved by the keeper again, and it's another opportunity for Scotland. This time Gilmour hit it. It was a decent connection from the little midfielder, but it's another relatively comfortable save there for Avram in the Moldova goal. 1-0 Scotland.
Yeah, but that's okay, isn't it? It's another striking goal with Tierney not that long ago, and then Gilmour begin to take part in it as well, so just keep that up.
There's Dykes stabbing it to the right of the penalty area for Patterson. The sliding challenge will take it behind for a Scotland corner. Good play again by Nathan Patterson. If he plays well tonight, you can imagine him solidifying that right back slot for a long time to come.
Yeah, he started, as I said, a little bit nervously, but he's done really well. He did it really well for the goal, and he's just grown into the game.
A fabulous player. Christie takes the corner. It's right on top of the keeper, who punches it away with both hands. It'll break to Tierney on that left-hand side. Able to keep it in play. A little short ball to Robertson, left-hand side of the box. Chipped into the area, taken down on the chest by Dykes. He had his back to goal. And eventually, as he tried to feed it to Nisbet, it was blocked, and it pings out to the far side before the sliding Patterson makes the challenge, and out it goes for a throw into Moldova, just inside their own half over on that right flank. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Almost on 32.
That's a good challenge, isn't it, from Patterson as well? Good cover too. He's alert to the break, the quick break. Excellent tackle.
Yeah, the pace along the back line has helped enormously, and also in the two wing back positions, because there's quite often, as I'm watching the play develop, we're man for man at the back. Tierney's pushed on.
Here come Moldova down the right hand side of the Scotland box. The cross is blocked there by Hanley. There's Ianita down that right flank. And tried to get the ball into the box, bounces out for a throw into the visitors, and they're right up the pitch here are Moldova, and Yardan will take the throw a bit level with the Scotland penalty spot. Bold to the right angle of the penalty area for Rata. In comes the cross, comes off a Moldova head, I think. Yeah, goal kick. And it's been headed behind by Giachev. Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 33, almost 33 played here.
I think Grant Hanley got a sure one out in the touchline there to give away that throw-in. He did really well to camouflage it, but he's bending down quite a lot now.
Yep, Norwich City captain. Here is Tierney taking it out from defence and rolling it to the right for Hendry, along the deck out to Patterson. Goes back to Hendry, short ball to Nathan Patterson, then to Hendry again. Now it's with McGinn. Patterson's on his bike down the near side. McGinn instead spreads the play right to left of the circle for Tierney. Forward there along the grass to Christie. Out to the left for Robertson. Back to Tierney. Back to Robertson. Level with the 18-yard line. In comes the cross ball. Up goes Dykes. Good defending. Really good defending there by the captain, Armas. Scotland pinch it back at the edge of the area though. Gilmour for Tierney. Shoots and he's denied again. 3 chances he's had. It's kind of on the stretch as he tried to take that one with the left foot, and it was a bit of a trundler which the goalkeeper holds on to with minimal fuss. 34 played now. Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Yeah, it's really good play though, isn't it, by Scotland? And you can see that the 3 midfield players that he's got in there, they're all very, very comfortable taking the ball, and there was a great passage of play there that led to that chance.
Yeah, 11 to the break. Just that 1 goal scored by Lyndon Dykes, his 3rd for Scotland. There's a throw-in for Moldova, taken by Ryabchuk down this near side. Scotland battling for it on the halfway line. Comes off Jack Hendry, he's able to keep it in play. Chip ball forward, comes off the chest of Armas, and then Ryabchuk brought down by Nisbet, and that will be a free kick to Moldova just inside their own half on this near side. They don't tend to threaten in groups to Moldova. Their best ever campaign was probably Scotland's best qualifying campaign of recent years, in the battle for a place at Euro 2008. It was the only time they weren't in the bottom 2 of their section. Picked up 12 points. They've got nowhere near threatening that kind of points tally before or since. It was a 7-team group, which perhaps helped to strengthen their points tally on that occasion. And is Moldova in possession, ranked 175 in the world rankings. And that's played back to Armas. He passes it back to Bolahan at the edge of his own penalty area. Final 10 minutes of this first half at Hampden Park. Willie Miller, what are you making of it?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty good. I think you get that goal, you get it early enough as well. After, 14 minutes or so, you've had, another almost handful of chances and opportunities. Disappointing that you haven't taken two of them. They're 2 glaring opportunities from the players that we were talking about earlier, Tierney and Robertson, wasn't it? Getting into great positions but not really taking advantage of the good play. So I think it's went well. The only negative is that it should really be 2 or 3, shouldn't it?
Yeah. And you can't underestimate how important that is. That 2nd and 3rd goal, and the feeling that the players get, and the feeling that the manager gets, and they go out and they're full of confidence in the second half, and it's going to be 5, 6, 7. But until we get the gap, we need another 1 goal or another 2 goals to feel that we've got the game won. And when it's 1-0, anything can happen.
Denmark dished out Moldova's record defeat, an 8-0 victory back in the March triple header. Moldova clearing their lines over on that far side. Short ball into the midfield again is picked up by Ianita, seen a lot of the ball in this first half as Israel go 3-0 up against Austria. And that is quite the turn up in Haifa. Israel 3, Austria 0. I said earlier, if a team's going to win that from a Scotland point of view, it had to be the Israelis. They're surely not going to lose it now. Eran Zahavi, of course, has got his goal. Israel 3, Austria 0. It's an astonishing scoreline against a side that took Italy to extra time at Euro 2020. As Dykes comes forward, outside of the boot, flicks it wide right of the box for Patterson. Takes a touch, right foot bending ball in. will be flicked half away. Robertson heads it down into the ground towards the 6-yard box before it's not clear by Tierney's shout to that far side. Robertson perhaps had more time there than he thought he did, as it's bowled back to Gilmore. Gilmore looks up, low ball into feet of Christie. Christie goes down. The referee's in a good position, says no free kick, and Moldova are able to come away on the counter here. Driving up towards the halfway line is Janita, out to the right flank. They have 2 over there, and Scotland having to flood back in numbers here. He's away from one challenge. Their shot just wide from the right hand side of the D at the edge of the Scotland box. That is a decent hit there by Giachev, and Craig Gordon was moved to dive dramatically to his left as that flashed past his goal. With 7 to the break, Scotland 1, Moldova 0. But that's a word of warning for Steve Clarke's men.
There's no doubt about it. It doesn't go far past that near post. I think Craig Gordon's definitely got it covered.
He's got it well covered. But that's not the point, isn't it? That isn't the point.
It's a threat. It's a threat in the break. So it's about that communication and organisation and making sure that, as you said, Craig, and you've said throughout this first half, at 1-0, it's still a dangerous scoreline.
Moldova put it out cheaply deep inside their own half. Scotland throwing about level with the Moldova 18-yard line. And Christie leaves it for Robertson, who bowls it back the way to the left of the circle for Tierney, who moves it into it for Hendry. And then out to Patterson on this near side. Patterson midway inside, the Moldova half good, well read there by Armas on the slide, blocks the Patterson pass. Moldova trying to get something going. Eventually it's going to be controlled here by Rabchuk on this near side. Up the line there for Jinsari. It's good skill from him initially, and he manages to get away from Hendry and Patterson. Hendry's having a look out, I presume, to the 4th official here, looking for a foul that isn't coming. 39.5 on the clock. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. And it's the Scots in possession with Gilmore in the midfield. In the Moldova half, his pass and good intentions for Christie, but it's cut out by the defender again. And down the right hand side come Moldova with Platica, but Hanley's there and he does well. He just turns it in to Tierney. Looks like such a cool customer, Grant Hanley. We were talking about him the other night, his second coming as a Scotland player really, and he certainly looked much more like an international defender during this second spell in the national team. As that long ball from Tierney's found Robertson, glorious from Tierney. Robertson couldn't quite control it though on the slide. It was behind for the goal kick. Scotland 1, Moldova 0, but in the final 5 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, just to elaborate on your point about Grant Hanley, I don't know if I gave him his debut, but it was round about that time, and he was a bit raw. You know, he was overly aggressive at times. You did,
yeah. You gave him his debut in that Nations Cup in Dublin. Remember that?
Yeah, and I mean, he had potential, but like most young centre backs, I mean, he had a fantastic attitude, but he had some rough edges. And I'll tell you what he has done. He's worked really hard and got himself in a situation where he's a Premier League defender now.
Here comes Scotland with Dykes. Is at the edge of the penalty area. A little burst of pace. Should he have just shot? Probably. The Moldova defenders have ganged up on him, and Paternish clears. 41 on the clock. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Willie was getting a bit excited there as Lyndon Dykes crept towards the Moldova box.
Oh, it was another good opportunity, wasn't it? And probably, with hindsight, he should have pulled the trigger and, at least try to get it and target. He eventually, runs into 2 red jerseys there, and it's a defender coming back the way, isn't it, that gets a little toe poke on it.
He had 2 choices. He could have passed it to Nisbet and gone again, or he could have taken a shot, and neither of those things happened.
Erin Zahari scoring his 24th international goal in 26 caps tonight. That's astonishing. He'd only scored something like 6 or 7 before that, and he's been capped about 50 times, so it's a remarkable return from the PSV Eindhoven striker, who's on the score sheet again tonight for Israel, who lead Austria by 3-0. Now Israel will obviously cause Scotland problems, because they have done every time Scotland have played them. But you'd much rather be in a position where the 3 points you had to get to finish second in this group was a home game against Israel, rather than away to Austria, where you would imagine they'd still need to pick up a point if things continue as they are tonight. Still just 1-0 here though. 42 now on the clock. Scotland down the right with Patterson, and it's played off him by the defender, and that will be a throw-in to Moldova, but level with the penalty spot deep inside their own half with 2.5 to the break.
Yeah, 1-0 doesn't tell the story of this match so far, does it?
No, it's been totally dominated by the home side, and you know, the chances have been created.
But this is the problem, well. Willie. This is the problem. They just don't take enough chances.
Yes, you're right, and they need another one. They need that second one, that's for sure.
Age-old problem for the Scots. You would hope they will not be made to pay for that come the close of business tonight, as Gilmour is adjudged to have fouled his man there on the edge of the centre circle. Looks like Austria have pulled one back actually in Haifa, and that's just happened in the last minute or so. I'm not sure who scored the goal, but it's Israel 3, Austria 1.
That'll be 3 each, I think, Liam.
Wouldn't surprise you.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
No. Willie's showing, yeah, Baumgartner's got the goal, the Hoffenheim player. He scored against Moldova the other night as Moldova come down the right and win a corner just before the break, with 1.5 minutes of this first half to play.
Well, this is crucial, isn't it? You know, in terms of going in at half-time. Getting in at half-time with a 1-goal lead, I think it's acceptable, and the manager's got plenty to work with in terms of the opportunities and the chances created. You know, but you get a corner, you know, this late in the first half, you don't want to be giving anything away. Got to be organised, got to be disciplined.
And they have got they've got big defenders up to attack this as well.
Yeah, and 2 of them are round about the penalty spot. There's another one on the 6-yard line to receive this corner to be taken by the Abchuk over on that far side. In swinger with the left foot right on top of the Scotland defence. And it comes a good delivery. It's a header. Oh, it's just wide. Well, the referee looks as though he's given another corner over on this near side. Has it come off a Scottish head? Last is Craig Gordon. Got a little nervous finger to it. It's difficult to tell from there as we go into the final minute of this first half. In fact, there's 30 seconds left. Yeah. That wasn't far away from first viewing. It's come off. It's actually come off.
Henry's done really well.
Yeah. Could have gone anywhere. Corner on this near side, and it comes headed clear there by Nisbet. That was a nervy moment, though. That was a very nervy moment right in the last knock-ins of this first half. We're about to find out if there'll be any injury time. The fourth official doesn't have a board in his hands. Scotland leading 1-0 as Patterson heads clear. We've played the 45 minutes and the Belgian referee blows the half-time whistle. And Moldova have come very close to equalising right at the end of that first half. But Scotland go up the tunnel with a 1-0 lead. But they've had so many opportunities to add to it. Lyndon Dykes scoring the goal in 13 minutes. Great work by Patterson, it really was. Driving into the box, looked as though it was going to be his goal as he shot low, side foot effort into that bottom left corner. The keeper got a hand to it, really good diving save low, but it popped out to Dykes, who had the most simple of tasks to score his 3rd international goal for Scotland to settle any kind of early nerves. But they've been profligate, and it is a problem, because sometimes they don't create too many chances, and when they do, they haven't been taking them necessarily. They got the 4 against the Faroes back in March. They really need to start putting these minnows to the sword in games like this, because they do not want to become embroiled in a battle with Moldova this evening in the search for 3 points. Tierney missing a glorious opportunity with a header. Andy Robertson missing a glorious opportunity, as he did against the Czechs here at the Euros. Left-hand side of the 6-yard box, he blazed over. Billy Gilmour's tested the goalkeeper. Tierney's had a couple of pops from distance as well. And there was that moment when Robertson shot over. He had a couple of players waiting for a tap-in, Dykes in particular, at the back post. You hope that they will not be made to pay for missing those opportunities. It's a decent scoreline for Scotland in Haifa right now, with Israel 3-1 up in Austria. Denmark have scored late in the first half to lead in the Faroe Islands. But importantly, very importantly here in Glasgow, it is Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Scotland in the World Cup qualifiers.
Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Denmark made, I think it's 9 changes for that game against the Faroe Islands. Jonas Vind scored. Now, I think the goal has actually now been disallowed. There was a VAR check. initially it seemed like the goal had been allowed, but they have now disallowed that goal. Decision confirmed, no goal, so it's actually goalless between the Faroe Islands and Denmark. As I say, the Danes making 9 changes ahead of that one. And the game in Haifa, it is definitely Israel 3, Austria 1. It's an astonishing scoreline. Manor Solomon got the opening goal in the 5th minute. The second goal coming from Munas de Boer, who of course, he's become a well-known figure. Aaron Zahavi certainly has. He got the third in the 33rd minute. Baumgartner got the goal for Austria 3 minutes before the interval. They're not quite at half-time. There's a late opportunity for Arnautovic in the first half, which he has missed. 5 minutes of added time they're playing. 3-1 still for Israel against Austria. And of course, 1-0 for Scotland against Moldova. The goal scored by Lyndon Dykes, his 3rd in what is his 17th international. Stuart, I guess beforehand, if you'd said we'll be 1-0 up at half-time, you would probably have bought that, wouldn't you? Has it just begun to get a little bit frustrating, though, given all these opportunities?
Yeah, definitely so. I think, 1-0 you take. Obviously better to be 1-0 up than 1-0 down. But, I think after that, the really 2 outstanding opportunities. Tierney's header, unmarked, 4 yards out, should score, there's no doubt about it. Don't catch it well. And Robertson was the same. He gets himself in a great position and no composure and shoots wildly over the bar. So them 2 should have gone in. It would have made it more comfortable. Having said that, I think we've had 8 shots, 6 on target. They've still have an effort on target. But in the last, 8 minutes there, Geertjev has a shot just wide, although Gordon's got it covered, and the header later on where Henry does well. So listen, 1-0's, you can say never enough, but it's certainly going to be nervy and tense unless we get another one. But it was the game. I mean, Patterson for the first 10 minutes probably had his most nervy, ropiest 10 minutes of his career, and then we showed why Steve's picked him tonight.
Yeah, well, you said to me here, look, he's really struggling. He's clearly, the nerves are getting to him, but he needs a moment. He needs something just to settle him into the game. My God, he got it.
He read it so well. He was aggressive in his press. And not only that, when he plays it wide, he gets in the box. And to be fair, Nisbet gives him a nice little ball back. It's a decent strike, so he hits it early. It's going in. It's an actually good save by the keeper. And Dykes is there, like all good centre forwards, inside the post for a tap in. But you think then after that, we had a little spell, I think at 25 minutes to 30 minutes, where we were really on top. 3 really good chances in that time, but didn't take them. So, happy it's 1-0 naturally, but we should be a bit more comfortable.
I mean, apart from the real golden opportunities you mentioned there was also a Gilmore shot that was saved, but there were opportunities for both Dykes and Nisbet on the edge of the box as well that they just weren't alert enough to take. Yeah,
we should have got shots off quicker. I think we've dawdled a little bit. We've, as I said, we should have got out his feet. Both of them should have shot. Even the ball at the end, Tierney's fantastic ball to Robertson in the end. I think Robert's just got to go across first time, and I think it was Nisbet or Dykes in there for a tap in. He tries to take a touch and he runs out of play. So just a little more care in the final third. But they've nothing to lose. 1-0 down Moldova. They'll come out and they'll have gained a little bit of confidence from their last 10 minutes. They've been out half a little bit more. So we've got to be aware of that. But I think we've got to be, you look at Tierney. That's his best position for me. I mean, 3 shots from a left-sided centre-half, from 20 yards out, and that's what he's good at. He's overlapping, and you can afford to do that against sides where, as I say, you look to dominate the ball.
Incidentally, it is now half-time in Haifa, so 3-1 Israel against Austria, and a confirmed half-time in Tórshavn. Faroe Islands 0, Denmark 0. That Jonas Vind goal has been disallowed after a VAR check. So, Tom English probably still reeling, not only from Ireland's 1-1 draw at home to Azerbaijan, but that scoreline in Haifa that has seen Israel take command of that one. And what have you made of the opening 45 at Hampden?
Encouraging. It could have been, obviously, as the lads are saying, it could have been a lot better if they scored a second. But I think they probably will score a second. I like the kind of tempo they're playing at, the intent, the kind of aggression. Again, obviously playing against inferior opposition compared to the other night. but they're doing their stuff. It looks like they're up for this. Loads of chances. That's kind of worrying. I don't think well, I hope to God it won't cost them tonight, but in other games that kind of wastefulness in front of goal is going to be an issue. But they've got the goal, they've got it early, they've got the crowd up and running, and I think another goal early in the second half, and this is done, and they might run out and score another one after that.
Tom, just look to your, I'm assuming, just look to your right. Is Willie Miller swaying as he listens into that 1982 classic, which is belting out over the tunnel?
The legend is as emotionless as ever. He doesn't do emotion. He doesn't buy into all this. He's a cold-hearted man.
He'll be counting the royalties now that it's been played again. His top 10 hit is being played.
He's on his phone. He might be checking his balance, his bank account actually. His phone is actually about to blow up. He's definitely looking at his balance. There's just too much money in there.
Right. John McGinn, has John supplied Stuart what we would normally expect of John?
I think he's been okay. I think Christie there, as we saw for Robertson's chance, got in and did well. But I think they've been okay in there. Nothing more. I think there's more to come from John. I think he will hopefully, as the game goes on, find a few more spaces. If Moldova show a bit more attacking intent, we can get at them. But yeah, I think he's done fine. Christie's done fine. Gilmore, played a few nice passes, got forward and had a shot. Robertson and Patterson in the wide areas getting forward. So yeah, it's encouraging, I think, as Tom said there. But I think, do we need? Yeah, obviously, if it finishes 1-0, we don't need that second goal. But just for the sakes of our minds and mentality, it'd be nice to get another early goal in the second half.
Yeah, I think you look at that scoreline in Israel. I think that if Israel win that game, I think that makes it even more imperative that Scotland win in Austria, because that
would all but count Austria out of it.
There's a chance Austria then are reeling in the group. It's a chance to absolutely inflict serious damage on them by going over there and beating them, which will put Scotland 4 points ahead of them, which will put serious pressure on Austria to get back in the group. I'm not saying they're going to do it, but I think there's a chance. If Austria lose tonight, it's a big chance for Scotland to go and really, really hurt them.
Yeah, and actually, and Stuart was saying to me during the first half, the pressure would be so intense in Austria. Can you imagine it now? I don't know if the Austrian media is quite as intense as the Scottish football media is, or how the fans are online or forums and all these kind of things. But bottom line is, if that was Scotland and we were in Austria's position, we're facing up to a home game against it, you know what it would be like in the build-up to the game. I'm assuming it would be something similar in Vienna.
Like you want to do as much damage as you possibly can to the teams around you. Now, obviously, Israel are damaging Austria as it stands. They're damaging them big time. Scotland go there. I'm sitting there. It's a huge task because Austria are a good side. This is obviously a weird performance from them tonight. I wasn't expecting it. But if somehow Scotland can go there and win that game, Austria are in serious bother, aren't they? I mean, they're in serious bother at that point. So this is when you've got the chance to try to really hurt your nearest rivals. You've got to take them out. You've got to be ruthless.
Right, Stuart, what would be the message that Steve Clarke is delivering to his players down in the Hampden dressing room right now?
Play with the same intensity. Take the chances when they come along. But be careful. It's all well and good Tierney going forward, which he does well, but just be careful of that back door. Don't give him anything to hang the hat on. Don't give him any encouragement, corners, free kicks, silly free kicks, anything like that. But go and play with the same intensity. Get the ball wide, get it across the box, get the wing backs joining in, and get McGinn and Christie up alongside Nisbet and Knights, with Gilmore just sitting in there and mopping up. But control the game, control the football, and chances will come.
It's largely been that way in the first half, hasn't it? They have exerted, if not total control, a fair bit of control. Defensively, they haven't offered up too many openings to the Moldovans. No,
that's correct. But I know, get what Tom's saying. We're looking forward to it. There's still another 45 minutes. We've got to make sure we get the 3 points in the bag. And then we'll look towards the Austrian game then. But at the moment, these are the scores we took at half time. We said whatever happens in Israel, a draw might be okay, but certainly don't want Austria winning, and thankfully at the moment they're not. Scotland are winning. Let's have another goal.
You do know it's going to be typically Scottish that Austria are going to score 3 second-half goals and Moldova are going to equalise with about 4 minutes to go at Hampden, don't you?
Come on, Richard. Come on.
Come on, Richard.
We're not having no doom and gloom tonight. It's positivity.
Richard, that's my job.
Right,
doom and gloom is my terrain.
I know,
right?
but I'm feeling it. I think I need Craig Levein to rub some of his positivity all over me, because he's Mr. Happy, bright-eyed and confident these days.
Well, sometimes, Richard, sometimes. I'll tell you one thing I think it's interesting, though. I do think that Scotland have got the better of the front two for Moldova. They've been actually at times been leading man for man, and the pace that Henry and Grant Hanley have got, they are snuffing everything out that comes forward. My big worry is set pieces.
Yes.
You know, I think giving away silly free kicks round about the box, or even 15-20 yards in your own half, where they can send the big guys up, that for me would be their biggest threat. It's the chance for them to get numbers in our box. I can't see them getting numbers in our box playing the way they're playing in open play. I just can't see it. But set pieces for me would be something that I think we need to be very careful about.
Incidentally, on the face of it, it looks a fairly normal kind of red strip that Moldova are wearing, but actually it is quite possibly the worst strip I think I've ever seen in my life. A horrendous strip down the side. I don't know quite what the pattern is, and apologies if it has any great significance to the Moldovan nation, but it's just a very strange strip down both sides.
Yeah, it's one of them, Richard, that you end of the game you won't want to be swapping your Scotland jersey for one of them.
Now, that's not one that you would want necessarily to add to your collection. Anyway, the Moldovan players are coming out. There's going to be certainly at least one change, it would appear, for them. Dross coming on, the number 18 for the second half. The cheers to herald the arrival of the Scottish national team. And let's hope more cheers at the end of the 90 minutes. It is 1-0. The job is half done thanks to Lyndon Dykes' third international goal. Let's hope they see it through. Full live commentary here in Sports and on BBC Radio Scotland with Willie Miller, Craig Levein and Liam McLeod.
Well, by the time Qatar rolls around, the Scots will have gone 24 and a half years without an appearance at the tournament, having attended 6 World Cups in the 24 years beforehand, only missing out in 1994. They must pick up the 3 points tonight and get something on Tuesday. Moldova's changed. Christian Dross, as Richard was saying, has come on. He's a midfield player, plays his football in Belarus. He's come on for the number 9, Mihail Giachev.
It's an unfortunate name, that, Dross, isn't it?
It's not ideal, but I'm sure it doesn't mean the same thing where he comes from as it does here, as Moldova prepare to kick off the second half. Well, since they last qualified, Scotland's best win total in a World Cup qualifying group is 5, which they managed last time out, but mainly due to a late run which saw them ultimately fall short of a playoff spot. It's pretty much nailed on. You require 6, maybe even 7 wins to finish second in one of these campaigns if you're in a 6-team section. It might not work out that way if Austria continue in the downward spiral, as Moldova kick off left to right in the second half in the red and white, shooting towards Craig Gordon's goal, which he's defending in front of the east stand. Scotland shooting towards Mount Florida in the all-navy blue with red and white, as Tierney rolls it back to Grant Hanley. No changes for the Scots at the half-time interval, so it's Gordon in goal, cap number 59, Henry, Hanley and Tierney, Patterson and Robertson, who joins the Hall of Fame tonight with cap number 50, with Gilmour sitting behind McGinn and Christie, or behind Dykes and Nisbet. The goal scorer, Lyndon Dykes, came on 13. That is the only goal so far. Scotland have fashioned opportunities to make that scoreline look a bit better than it currently does, as they have to do a bit of defending here. Gordon comes out and slides onto the ball, right to the right of his penalty spot, as he underarm pulls it out to Robertson on this near side. They'll love an early goal in this second half, because the longer it goes 1-0. Moldova did 2 pretty decent chances in that first half. First, the shot that flashed by Craig Gordon's goal, and the other one when it came off Jack Hendry's head. And from our vantage point in the main south stand here, it looked as though that was pretty close to going the other side of the post from where it did when it went behind for the corner, Willie.
Yeah, it's just a second goal, Liam, isn't it, really? I think the play in the first half was pretty good. Chances created, excellent. Obviously, disappointing thing we didn't take them, or enough of them. In the second half, you just need that second goal, that's it.
Side of play for John McGinn on the far side as he got himself away from the defender, but the annoyance of the Scotland supporters in the north stand over there. The linesman put the flag up. Moldova have a throw but level with their own 18-yard line to be taken by Ryabchuk. Bowls it down that left-hand touchline, well read by Henry, comes over, makes the challenge, and it comes bouncing off a Moldovan and out for a throw-in to Scotland this time, about midway inside Moldovan territory. And Nathan Patterson, who was very heavily involved in the goals on it, and he bowls it short to Gilmour, away from the challenge. Now he finds McGinn, rolls it the wrong side of Dykes, and he goes right through to the goalkeeper Avram. Scotland 1, Moldova 0, 2.5 into the second half.
Was it too bad a ball, was it? You could see what he's trying to do,
I think Dykes should have made that run. Well,
yeah.
I really do. I think that he found himself with his back to the game for some reason. Yeah, just watching it again, and if he was alert, I think he could have got that.
Tierney forward to Dykes in the centre circle, in the Moldova half, short to Christie, out wide left for Robertson, back to Christie. He dumps it back into his own half for Hanley, the big number 5, out to Patterson, then back to Jack Hendry, rolls it to Gordon. Now with Hanley to Gilmour. Big season for Jack Hendry. He's got his move to Club Brugge. He'll be playing Champions League football. I think he's up against the biggest spenders of all in Paris Saint-Germain, Messi, Neymar, Mbappe et al. As that comes back to Tierney, leathers it forward up into there, bouncing ball's awkward for the defender. Dykes is in there, McGinn is there too. McGinn brought down to the edge of the box, was he? The referee isn't going to blow the whistle for the free kick. It's a throw-in only for Scotland over on the far side, and it will be about level with the edge of the D of the Moldova penalty area. John McGinn was fairly certain that he was fouled there in the edge of the box.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to claim for it, aren't you? I think his boot's up is high. I think it's a high boot, isn't it? I think the referee, and there's no doubt that there's contact made on John McGinn, but his boot's high.
Well, John was on the way down anyway, wasn't he? I mean, I think the referee was close enough to see exactly what went on there.
He's got a free kick this time, though, albeit it's not in a shooting position this time. The last one, which he felt he should have got, was central. This is right to centre, and about level with the angle of the box over there as far as Gilmour is concerned, as he stands to flight this ball into the penalty area. It's about level with the edge of the D. It'll be slightly further back than that as Gilmour waits. There's a group of players all along the 18-yard line. The movement comes now. Gilmour sends the free kick in. It's bounced out to this near side. Down by the corner flag, Dykes keeps it in play. Looking for movement, gets it from Tierney. Good play, good first take. Chip ball into the penalty area. It's just behind Nisbet, and McGinn couldn't do anything with it. And away come Moldova down that far side. They got a break of the ball there, and Jinsari has it down that far side with the ball. Good sliding challenge from Patterson again. The Scotland supporters are enjoying what they are seeing from Nathan Patterson. The Rangers wing-backs having a fine evening. First competitive start for the Scots. As Moldova come down the left, a good run here by Ryabchuk, down to the byline, chip ball into the box, cushion header from Robertson. Gilmour brought down as the shot flies wide. Has he given the free kick? I presume he has. Look at tripping Billy Gilmour just inside his own box.
I don't know if I'd appreciated that header from Robertson if it was me. I mean, he's headed the ball down inside the penalty box, and Billy Gilmour's got his back to the opponent, so he was quite lucky to get away with that.
Well, I think he gave the goal kick there. Craig Gordon took it from inside the 6-yard box, and that happened in the edge of the penalty area. Anyway, it's Christie out to Robertson, 1-0 to the Scots, almost on 51. It's the captain Robertson on this near side. We'll just be getting back underway in Haifa. There was 5 or 6 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half of that one, as Gilmour chips it into the box. Too much on it for Nisbet though, and it bounces behind for a goal kick. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. 51 minutes on the clock on this Saturday evening here on Sports Sound, on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital, on BBC Sounds at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Austria, Scotland to come on Tuesday evening, another 7:45 kickoff from the Ernst Happel Stadium in Vienna. Scotland 1-0 up on Moldova on the night here. As it stands table, Denmark currently being held by the Faroes, 13 points they would be. Can't imagine they're going to drop points to the Faroe Islands anyway. Israel currently on 10 with a win, Scotland 8, Austria 7 at the midway point of this group. Should everything finish as it is now, long way to go though. Here comes Jack Henry stepping in, moving it to McGinn. Out to the right hand side it goes again for Patterson, up against Ryabchuk. Patterson gets away from him, now driving into the penalty area. Brilliant from Patterson, he goes down, he's looking at the ref, no penalty. Now breaks to Tierney. Tierney then rolls it to his left for Robertson. Robertson looking to return it to Tierney. It's cut out there by the defender Yardan, and then it comes bouncing off Robertson and out for a throw into Moldova on this near side. 52.5 in the clock. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. If there was any suggestion that was a penalty, it would be getting a check from the VAR. There's no suggestion of that happening here. So Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Willie Miller.
No, but it's good play.
Oh, it's a poor ball. Moldova give it away. McGinn's in the box. He shoots. It's blocked by the defender. And another chance comes and goes without Scotland notching. Here's Gilmore picking up the scraps. Right-hand side of the box. His cross comes in. There's nobody in dark blue other than Robertson keeping it in play on the reverse side of the penalty area and winning the corner. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. They could be doing with this second goal.
Yeah, and I think John McGinn should have done better there.
Did he need to shoot that early? I just felt he could have taken another touch, opened the goal up even more, and then he would have had to choose from either side.
He snatched that a little bit, isn't he? I think he could have set it up mid on his left foot a bit
That's a
better.
good chance.
With a curler.
Out of the 31 goals,
post,
out of the 31 goals they've scored under Steve Clarke, McGinn's got 10 of them. As Gilmore takes the corner into the 6-yard box, it's headed over the bar by Grant Hanley. From 6 yards out, he was under pressure, and it will stay Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 53.5 minutes at Hampden Park.
Yeah, he got to the ball first. I think he was on his way down actually when he headed it, and hence the ball went up over the bar. But no, it's still a good chance, I think, actually. He just couldn't quite manage to get above it.
Long ball forward by Moldova. Underneath it is Hanley. It's headed up towards halfway. Robertson helps it on its way into the centre circle for Dross, who knocks it to his left for Ryabchuk. And then it's Armas, low ball forward across the halfway line. It's Ryabchuk picking it up on the far side. You can tell with Ryabchuk that he's playing at a level above the other guys in the Moldova side. The left wing back just seems to have that nice touch, little bit of movement, which might cause problems.
They're actually no mugs, you know that. I've seen a lot worse international teams than this.
Craig, you said to me once during an interview when you were Scotland manager after a win against the Faroes at Pittodrie, I had the temerity to suggest that beating the Faroe Islands is something that you should expect to do, and you said to me, no, there's no easy games in international football. Do you still maintain that?
Yeah, I do believe that. I mean, we can see tonight, this is a well-organised team, aren't they? I mean, OK, Scotland have missed some chances, but they're no mugs, that's for sure.
I think you were both right, though. You shouldn't expect to beat the Faroes,
of
but
course.
It's not going to be easy.
He slapped me down. It was a takedown. It is 10 minutes into the second half here. Scotland leading Moldova by 1-0. As the Scots look to try and put this game to bed, sooner the better from their point of view. As the referee blows, I think, for a handball there. It'll be a free kick to Scotland. Edge of their own box, taken short to Tierney, who comes forward and rolls it to the left for Robertson. Infield for Gilmore. Gilmore firing it with the right foot out to Patterson. A brilliant ball, just makes things look so simple. Patterson onto the chest of Dykes, couldn't quite get that under control, and that allowed the defender Bolahan to clear up onto halfway and rolled out to Ryabchuk on that left-hand side. They're underway again in Haifa, about 4 minutes now into the second half there, so they're 4 or 5 minutes behind us here at Hampden, with Israel leading by 3-1. And at 53 in the Faroes 0-0. Group leaders being held by the Faroes. It's Moldovan possession on this near side. Low ball into the midfield is collected there by the number 7 Janita. And back to the edge of his own penalty area for Bolahan. Central area, under pressure he is from Christie. Passing it short forward there to Janita again. Low ball out to the right-hand side for Tierney. And then back it goes to Bolahan, who sweeps it out to that left-hand side. Long ball, asking a lot of Platica to give chase with that one. Hanley's gone down as the ball goes out for a goal kick to the Scots. He took a sore one in the first half, Grant Hanley.
Yeah, I think it was an impact one in the first half though, Liam. It went down there and you begin to get a little bit concerned, I think, when a player who has opened up the legs and put in a bit of pace to his run goes down, but he's okay, he's back up, isn't a hamstring or anything dangerous like that.
And here
just
comes
having a little rest.
Here comes John McGinn rolling it down the right hand side for Nisbet. Dykes, McGinn and Christie wait in the middle. It's a poor ball, really poor from Nisbet, and it slashes off his right boot and goes behind for a goal kick. 57.5 played, Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Nisbet, he's all about the goal scoring. They need him in the middle. He'll be a little bit annoyed with how tonight's going for him, because he must have, when he was named in the starting 11, thought, I'm up against Moldova here. What a chance this is to add to my goal, which of course he managed to get in pre-tournament for the Euros. He's not been involved an awful lot, has he? When he had that nice little pass, didn't he, for Patterson in the first half of the goal. But other than that, he hasn't really taken part in the match. They're from Hanley. Now it's with McGinn. Straight on to the chest of Potternish. Long ball down the right-hand side, which is harmless enough, and goes behind for a throw-in to Scotland on this near side. 58 on the clock. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Here at Hampden, under the lights, early autumn, and the midway point of this World Cup qualifying Group F. Tournament being held November, December next year in Qatar. There'll be a break in the domestic calendar for that, as a foul by Gilmour. The referees allow Moldova to play on down the right. Good slide challenge by Christie, really good, important challenge as well. The two waiting in the middle, Moldova there. They are playing with the two strikers, and they're always up there waiting for any kind of space, any kind of mistake.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Liam, really, isn't it? That they've got bodies there, so you can't afford to make any mistake. And they do have intent when they get possession to try and get forward. They haven't really tested us too much in this game, but there's no doubt that when you've got two up top all the time, you keep them up top all the time, then there's always a danger that something might just come from that.
And we've got an Italian coach, former midfield player Roberto Bordin, played for Napoli and Atalanta. As Moldova pick it up at the edge of the Scotland box, Christie's challenge might get a second opportunity here. Will Rata, and then there's a shot towards goal, which Gordon does well to hold on to. Rata was the man who was initially involved, and then the effort with the right boot, which was aimed towards the top left corner, was held on to pretty comfortably by Gordon. But it's another attempt on the Scotland goal by the Minnows as we approach the hour mark. Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Well, you're just pleased that it goes straight at Craig Gordon, aren't you? Because
it was well struck, Willie.
It was, yeah. And if it's a little bit further away from him, if it's near the top corner, and it can happen. It's when you start seeing shots like that get in and goal, then you begin to get a little bit concerned. The fact that they've definitely got a 2, and at times it's 3 up.
They've got possession at the edge of our box, which for me is a dangerous thing.
An easy possession, not challenge possession.
It's an hour gone at Hampden. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. It's been a pretty uncomfortable last few minutes. Moldova seeing plenty of the ball deep inside Scottish territory, but here comes McGinn, freeing himself at the shackles of 2 challenges. Driving forward, he's forced it out to Nisbet, right hand side of the box, he shoots. The goalkeeper saves. Maybe that looked a simple save as well, did Avram, but they've given it away immediately. And here's Gilmour to Nisbet, right hand side of the box, back to Gilmour. It's wide. It's another opportunity. And Billy Gilmour will struggle to find a better one at this level to get his first international goal than that one. It stays Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 61.
It was brilliant play. It really was brilliant play, and you got credit Nisbet, I think it was, who Billy Gilmour played the 1-2 with. But he's got to score. He's got to score. I mean, what is he? 10, 12 yards out, unmarked, middle of the goals, and he puts it past the post.
Yeah. You know, but it is well worked, and you know, it's really presented to them, and Nisbet puts in a lovely little pass for Gilmour, but maybe he's just too far beyond the near post, Craig. I'm trying to give him excuses here, but if he lifts that at all, I think that he's finding the back of the net. It is a tight angle, right enough. Great play, but you're right, should score.
I think John McGinn appears to be struggling, which might not be good news for Tuesday, let alone tonight. And Callum McGregor's ready to come on, the Celtic captain. And that's a foul by Robertson, but Moldova will play on. And they have it down the right-hand side with Janita. He's going to get it back at the byline. That's gone over the line, I think, yeah. Goal kick, Scotland. Frustration for the Italian in charge of the Moldova national side down below us, who is leaping and jumping and running up and down that technical area. As Austria pull another back. Israel 3, Austria 2 in Haifa. Craig predicted a 3-3 draw when Austria got their first through Baumgartner towards the end of the first half. Well, they're one away from that now. Israel 3, Austria 2. And there's still loads of time left. That's come 10 minutes into the second half in Haifa. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Even a draw in that game is a good result for the Scots. You just sense it will be Austria who they'll be fighting with. I know Israel have caused Scotland problems, but Israel have to come here. It might be a different argument if Scotland had to go to Israel again. That fixture's out the way. It would certainly make up for dropping points in Israel in March if Austria were to do likewise tonight, but they've pulled it back to 3-2. Israel 3, Austria 2, and Marko Arnautovic, formerly of Stoke City and West Ham United's got the goal, currently in good form playing for Bologna and Serie A. Arnautovic. Here come the Scots winning it back. Moldova giving it away. It's Dykes to the edge of the box for Nisbet, right of the D. Nisbet looking for support. Doesn't look as though he believes that he's able to do anything. He's gone down, no free kick, and now Moldova come forward across the halfway line. On the left-hand side with Janita. Short ball infield, and it's with Rata. Moldova are finding space. This could yet get awkward for the Scots. It's a long-range shot which has gone well wide of the target. In any case there from Jan Yardan, and it will be a goal kick to Scotland in 64 minutes. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. It's going to be a double change. Shea Adams is going to come on, so is Callum McGregor. John McGinn is coming off, and will it be Nisbet who's coming off in the second of the changes? We'll find out in a moment. But John McGinn, who's a big hero of the Scotland support, of course, particularly because of his goal-scoring exploits in recent times.
An injection of energy is needed, I think, Willie, because I just feel that Christie and McGinn in particular have been doing a lot of running, and they're tiring, and I do think that Shea Adams coming on up top will help as well. So we've got McGregor on and we've got Adams on.
It's a very good option to have, isn't it, you know, bringing Adams on for Nisbet, and I think Nisbet hasn't done enough to put up a case for staying on. I think that is a sensible move, and of course Callum McGregor comes on with all the experience that he's got as well.
35th cap for Callum McGregor. Got his first international goal against Croatia that gave Scotland hope before half-time in that final group game here back in June. John McGinn off then. He scored 9 goals in 8 home qualifiers before this one, and no one is more on home soil in those games. With McGinn currently level with Ali McCoist in that regard, regards to qualifying games, as Adams picks up first touch of the ball for him, rolls it to his right for Christie, couldn't get it dug out from under his feet, and it's now back in the arms of Avram, and it stays Scotland 1, Moldova 0 on 65.5.
I don't think Adams meant for Christie to take that ball off him, did he? Because I think he just played on for himself, but he just kind of got in the way. They had taken a little bit of control of the match before the substitution, so I'm hoping that will definitely sort of turn things back in our favour.
They're certainly playing a lot better than they did in the early stages of this game, and they're definitely getting men forward. I mean, they've got 4 or 5, you know, further forward the park and just leaving their back 3 to do the defending.
Well, you know actually how a team feels when the opposition keep missing chances. You kind of think, well, that might be our day today.
Well, we've seen some of European football's also-rans come here and score. Gibraltar even managed to score a goal here, as Israel score again, 4-2
4
in
each,
Haifa.
I said.
You
Liam,
said, yeah, I misheard you then. I'll just score that 3-3 out here, Craig. Here come Moldova up towards the edge of the box with the pass, but it's right through to Jack Hendry, who rolls it to his right for Patterson. Israel 4, Austria 2. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Still goalless in the Faroes. It's Moldova in possession. The Scotland supporters getting a little bit edgy, and you can understand that, as that's passed back to Patterson. Little dink forward to Adams. This short ball is cut out. Moldova have come here to play, without question. As it comes back to Hendry. Anything Scotland drop tonight, if they were to drop anything, will be one of the worst results they've ever experienced against a side ranked 175 in the world. Forward to Adams. Misunderstanding with Robertson. Does manage to keep it in play. Turns it infield to Gilmour. Now back with Robertson. Tries to switch the play, and he does so out to Patterson on that right-hand side. Patterson has to retreat, though, to the halfway line to get onto it. He's on it now, to the midway point in the Moldova half. Little flick from Dykes. Adams isn't close enough to him, though, and it's back with Avram. We're in the final quarter of this Group F qualifier. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. You knew it wasn't going to be as simple as Scotland just going out there and rattling heaps of goals past them in the opening 3 quarters of the game, as Robertson cuts it back. Nobody there, though. Dykes was the closest. And Moldova, a man on the penalty spot, and they've got it clear out to this right-hand side, but it will be picked up by Jinsari. Now infield it comes to the impressive Janita. He's been everywhere. Offside flag goes up on this near side against Platica. 22 to play of the 90. Scotland leading by 1-0. And a reminder that it is 4-2 to Israel in Haifa. It was a huge result. Sean Weissman has got that goal.
I think as much as we want that second goal, we want to make sure that at the back we're rock solid. You know,
Dykes
because there's plenty intent there.
Goalkeeper comes to meet him, slides in, gets there first and puts it out for a throw-in. Dykes bent his run well there. He was definitely onside. The throw-in's taken towards Adams. Little touch on his knee. Slide challenge, breaks to Robertson, looking for support in the middle. Rather than just fling it in and hope, he saw there was only 1 or 2 options who were marshalled, so he elects to go back the way. It's Hanley on the halfway line to Tierney. And back to Grant Hanley. Scotland leading by 1-0. It is with Hanley.
I love watching Billy Gilmour while this is going on, Liam. All the angles he makes to get on the ball, every single time the ball goes across the back line, he makes himself available to the centre backs.
Yeah, fabulous.
And then he gets annoyed if they don't pass it to him.
Yeah, he's going to be a star without question in the Scotland side, as McGregor knocks it forward to Christie. And now Adams getting it onto the right foot. He does shoot. He reverses it towards the bottom left, and it's taken a deflection behind for a Scotland corner. Better. Scotland 1, Moldova 0, with about 20 to play, and Kenny McLean is going to come on in just a moment, but presumably it will wait till after this Scotland corner.
Yeah, decent strike, isn't it? It does take the deflection, you know, but the intent is there to have the goal. It's on target as well.
He's been good since he's come on, yeah.
Gilmour takes the corner. The goalkeeper's committed himself, but he does well. Beats it away out to that far side. Christie will get onto it, but the keeper's taken a knock. And the ref has decided to stop the play. And that will stop Scotland in their tracks. Scotland leading this game by 1-0 into the final 20 minutes. A wafer-thin lead for the Scots against a team that Denmark rattled 8 goals past in March. But in fairness, Denmark have so far to breach the Faroe Islands in Tórshavn. So you're Scotland manager down there, Craig. How do you view this game? 19 to play. do you get out here and think, well, you know, it's one of those nights we missed a hatful of chances, and another day it's 5 or 6?
Yeah,
do you take 1-0? Do you just take 1-0 and get out of here tonight?
I think you do, and the reason I say that is, what can the manager do about those chances that the team missed tonight? You know, so this is about a victory. That's all this is about. I mean, there has been enough good play tonight for us to be encouraged. Yes, of course, the Moldova are lowly ranked, but I said earlier on, I don't think they're a bad side at all. I really don't. So, yeah, it'd be lovely to get. And you know, if you get 2 of those chances in the back of net, we're sitting at 3 now. You could score 4 goals in the last 15-20 minutes. So it's just the fact that we can't get that second one that's caused the problem.
I think he'll be happy with the performance. You know, I think it's been a particularly good performance, and the chances have been created. You know, he can bemoan the fact that the chances haven't been taken, but they have been created. You know, and as long as, you know, nothing kind of interrupts that in terms of an equaliser, then I think he can go to the nation in positive mood.
Won back well by Hendries. Had a good game tonight. Liam Cooper's going to come on as well, by the way. Another double change for the Scots in a moment or two. It's Cooper, the Leeds United skipper, waits beside Kenny McLean. Scotland have it with Patterson. Here's Adams rolling it to the edge of the centre circle for McGregor, who turns it out to Robertson on this near side. 72 on the clock, 1-0 Scotland. McGregor to Adams, little flick, but it's going to go behind for the goal kick. It will stay at 1-0.
I don't know if you need the old back heelers at this stage of the game, do you? I think when you've got the press on, you've got possession, you're in a good position, you want to keep that pressure on their back lot, and to give out the ball away like that needlessly, I think, is not the right decision.
Yeah, and I would defy the law of physics. I think if he could actually manage to get his leg in a position where he could pass the ball there, that was impossible, what he was trying to do.
Now here's the changes, and Gilmour replaced by McLean. But a good ovation, Billy Gilmour, as the skipper Andy Robertson makes way for Liam Cooper. So Tierney will take over from Robertson on this near side. You're not exactly weakening that area of the pitch. And Kenny McLean, he was so unfortunate to miss the Euros in the summer with that injury picked up in the final day of Norwich City's championship season last term.
Liam, that tells you a story, I think. Now, if you ask me about would 1-0 be enough, well, I think bringing Kenny McLean on tells a story what Steve's thinking.
So he's happy.
Yeah, he's happy.
Yeah.
And Cooper,
yeah, of course.
You know, and I think the point that you've made on a couple of occasions, the height that they've got at set pieces, I think it's a wise move.
It is a good move. It is a good move. So, I mean, the substitutions have been good up to this point, for sure.
Yeah, Scotland have a man down, rubbing his head just now, and is it Liam Cooper's just on? He's just taken a bang to the head by the looks of things down below us. Yeah, it is Cooper. He went in for the challenge. I think he's taken an accidental elbow to the head there as he leapt up with Jinsari.
No, it was a head to head, I think it was.
Head to head it was, yeah.
I think Cooper had the elbows up.
He did, right? He did. I mean, it looks like he's in a bit of pain there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just on. Gilmour coming off, Robertson coming off. They're going to be very important players in Vienna on Tuesday. That becomes the game of this campaign now. And obviously,
I think it was always going to.
Yeah,
it was always going to be a
two
vital
against Austria.
Game, against Austria. The thing is that, you know, away from home, I always think that you get anything away from home, Craig. I don't know what you think, but at international level against teams seeded above you, if you get anything away from home,
that's a good result.
I'll give you a great example of that. I remember sitting in Tbilisi with Willie, and Willie said a draw is a good result here tonight. I remember thinking, no, they need to beat Georgia. They need to beat Georgia, get the 3 points on the board. And that came during the campaign for Euro 2016. Of course, they lost that game. A draw in the end up would have been, I think, enough to get them into third. So Willie's right.
Again.
He's always right. Has the man ever been wrong? I don't think he has. 15 to play here of the 90, with Scotland leading Moldova by 1-0. You're listening to Sports Sound this Saturday night here on BBC Radio Scotland, on digital, on BBC Sounds, and at the website bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Free kick Moldova, flighted into the Scotland box. The ref blows, though, and it's going to be a free kick to Scotland as Liam Cooper comes back on, and Jinsari's okay too. He was also off receiving some treatment. So into the final well, almost 14 minutes now. It is Scotland 1, Moldova 0. Israel 4, Austria 2. And still the Faroe Islands are holding Denmark as Dykes drives forward. Dykes falls to the ground, but he's managed to force it back to Christie, who finds Adams, can't resist the shot, and he's put that one high and wide, and that will be a goal kick to Moldova. 1-0 to the Scots. I mean, I'm looking at that now and I'm thinking the Faroes have got to 73 without conceding. Surely Denmark will win that game of football, but if they don't, that's suddenly 2 points shipped by the Danes. Long way to go in that one, of course, but right now the group is it's looking much better than it was pre-match. If it's still looking like this in 20 odd minutes time, then that will be all the better for Steve Clarke.
Yeah, things do change though, Liam, and the last 20 minutes of match, when people are getting tired, their mistakes are made, so I expect there'll be further changes to that.
You would have thought so. Christie hasn't nicked off and trying to win it back over on the far side. He's done well. Ryan Christie goes down, free kick, and that he's had a bit left on him there as well. And the first yellow card of the evening will be flashed at Arthur Janita on the far side for that challenge on Ryan Christie.
There's been some good challenges in the game, you know, some meaty challenges. I think that one probably deserves a yellow card.
That was a half Nelson, it was, wrestling term.
Yeah. You know, it's not a tackle, is it, at all? It's a bit of an assault. But other than that, I think, you know, most of the challenges have been quite well timed.
It's been fair.
Yeah,
it's been fair.
You know, there were a few Scottish players starting the game who were a booking away from missing Vienna. We'll get to that in a moment because Henry's pumped the free kick into the box. Hanley wins the first header. It's nodded back to the edge of the area by Henry. Christie hoists it back in, but the referee blows, and it's a free kick to Moldova this time at the edge of their own penalty area with just over 12 of the 90 to play at the National Stadium. Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
There's another sign that Steve's thinking that 1-0 will be enough, because he didn't send Cooper up for that set piece. And again, all three centre-backs were up for every set piece up until this point, so there's another indication that one's enough.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the right attitude to take, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, okay, you want the second and you would take it gladly, but you know, if it finishes 1-0, if it's a draw, if Denmark draw and if Austria get beat, it's not a bad night's work, is it?
No, not at all.
Just be a second win of this campaign. Halfway stage, you would imagine they will need another 4 victories after this one. I mentioned earlier 6, sometimes 7 victories are needed to finish second in a group. Last time they qualified for a World Cup finals, they won 7 of their campaign matches. As the free kick's given to the Scots on the far side, there was a late challenge. Almost 79 minutes played, Scotland leading Moldova by 1-0. 11 of the 90 to play. A little bit of a lull in proceedings down there. The head knock, the substitutions have probably added to that. As Kenny McLean waits to take the free kick. He's got a big part to play in Scotland reaching Euro 2020 with his shootout exploits here against Israel and against Serbia and Belgrade. As David Marshall made the save, McLean scored the final Scotland penalty, then ensured they would make it as he finds Christie. Out to the far side to Patterson, back to McLean, and Hanley is to look lively to get onto that. A little bit short with the pass was McLean, but it's okay as McGregor rolls it out to Tierney. Continues his run, does Callum McGregor down the left hand side, knew the challenge was coming, and the sliding Dross puts it out for a throw-in to the Scots level with the penalty spot on this near side. Going into the final 10, 80 on the clock. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. 4-2 to Israel against Austria. That's a momentous scoreline. Tierney bowls it in, comes to the edge of the penalty area for Christie, couldn't control. Moldova clear. And it's a long ball forward. Hanley gets there and he nods it back to Craig Gordon. It was 2-0 last time Moldova were here. Christian Daly and James McFadden scored the goals. They'd come off the bench. It was a nervy old night. They always tend to be here though, don't they? As Christie's ball finds Dykes, but he couldn't get it dug out from under his feet, and now Moldova winning it back there with Bolahan. They've defended well at times, Moldova, this evening. They haven't defended like whipping boys this evening.
No, they haven't. They've been really well organised, and you know, I like the fact that you can be defensive, you can be organised, but you can also be a threat at the other end of the park. And I mean a threat in terms of numbers, maybe not in terms of chances that they've created, but they're now playing with 3 up top, and they've played with 3 up top for most of the second half.
It's a foul on Hanley, free kick to the Scots on this near side. And that's going to be taken by Liam Cooper. Quite happy with their lot. Lyndon Dykes' goal came on 13 minutes on the rebound from Nathan Patterson's effort, which was saved. They've spurned a whole heap of chances, though. Now, they might get away with that tonight. You suspect they won't get away with that in Vienna. They certainly, you wouldn't imagine they will be able to carve open as many opportunities as they have this evening in Austria when they go to the Austrian capital on Tuesday night. So it's going to be even more important they take them, or take one even when it comes their way. It has been an issue. And I think it's only 4 of the last 17 they've managed to score more than 1 in a match. And that will come back to bite them if they don't manage to turn that around, as Adams wins a throw-in, but level with the 6-yard line of Moldova on this near side. The Austrians left it late before scoring their second and their 2-0 win over the Moldovans on the other night, on Wednesday night, as Tierney bowls it to Christie. Level with the penalty spot, back to Tierney, up the line for McGregor, and he goes back into his own half for Cooper, who likes to go all the way back to Craig Gordon. Crowd of about 35,000 inside Hampden, the biggest crowd in here for a fair period of time now, as Adams does well on the turn, finds Tierney left hand side of the box, plays it across, nobody there again. Patterson's there on the right hand side, claiming handball, getting corner only.
Again, really dangerous. Tierney, still full of that energy and that running power down the left hand side. A little bit unfortunate it doesn't find a target in the box, but Patterson backing up really well too. 2 players, 2 wing backs creating one down the left hand side, right hand side, one in the corner. Dangerous move.
And had 5 players in the box there as well.
In swinging corner coming up for the Scots over on that far side, to be taken by McLean. Over on that northwest corner, Scotland have loaded the box. Cooper's up for this with Hendry and Hanley, and it comes, and it's Hanley's header, and it's over. He's had a couple of those in the second half, and on 83.5 it stays Scotland 1, Moldova 0, as the Scots prepare to bring on David Turnbull for what will be their final change of the piece.
Yeah, looking at this again, Liam, was a free header actually from Grant Hanley, and if he just gets less on it, that's a good chance.
It's Dykes to come off, and Turnbull to come on. Been amongst the goals for Celtic this season, including his hat-trick scored against St Mirren a couple of Saturdays back. He replaces the goal scorer, and at the moment, the match winner.
Just tighten it up a little bit again, isn't it?
Extra man in midfield.
Just making sure, that we're not going to do anything silly in the last few minutes of this game. Leave Adams up on his own. But plenty threat still from a midfield area.
No, absolutely. Turnbull, McLean, McGregor, Christie behind Adams right now. It's Moldovan possession.
It'll just be how keen they are to go forward. That'll be the telltale thing, and I think this is really just shoring things up and accepting 1-0.
Well, that's fine at the end of the day, because the first tiebreaker in the group is the head-to-head. It's not the goal difference, but it might be teams finish on points or level points, and the head-to-head matches right now. The second placed side would be Israel. Scotland with a 1-1 draw over there, so chance to tidy up that head-to-head before they go to Vienna as well. They'll want to try and affect that head-to-head after the 2-2 draw here, salvaged by John McGinn, to Grant Hanley's first equaliser on that night. Scotland throw in, Patterson to take. Still 0-0, Faroe Islands, Denmark. They've played 82. We played 85 here, 85.5. Scotland leading 1-0, Israel 4, Austria 2, and that's the Group F story on match day 5.
Maybe Denmark put their kids out tonight, will they?
Still a good team they've got out there. There's still a lot of players who played all the way through to the Euro 2020 semis who are involved tonight for the Danes. Jonas Vind did score before half-time. It was ruled out by VAR though. It's a long ball for Adams, first time touch for Tierney, and the flag's up in any case. 86 played, Scotland 1, Moldova 0. The Scotland supporters have stayed with the team. There's been no sense that they've become frustrated that 1-0 hasn't become 2 or 3 or 4. No point tonight really. The goal coming in 13 minutes helps, of course. It's Christie, brilliant play by Ryan Christie. Sorry, it wasn't Christie, was it? It was Turnbull. And it was, sorry, McLean. I'll get there eventually. He's played it short to Turnbull. And Turnbull comes forward. He knew the challenge was coming, Kenny McLean. As that goes out to Patterson, then in field to Turnbull. On the spin, right-hand side of the box, rolls it to Christie. First time back to McGregor. Patterson's made a run out to the right. McGregor finds him. Level the 18-yard line. Now it's Turnbull. Turnbull to Christie. Good play. Christie left foot over the bar. And there's the latest chance. Coughed up by Scotland.
That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, he's inside the box. It's just, you know, the most perfect touch with his left foot to set himself up. But
I don't know why he lifted it, Willie.
He seems to all be off balance, or leaning back, doesn't he?
Perhaps.
You're right. I don't know why he's lifted it, but it's such a delicate touch from him just to set himself up.
Just needs to side foot it in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
The bottom right, or either side.
Certainly not where he put it. Well over the bar.
And Danu Spataru has come on for Moldova, and what is their last change? The midfield player plays in Armenia. And it is the Moldovans in possession on 87.5 minutes. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. They've spurned so many chances tonight. Of the Scots. Cooper's ball for McGregor, and we picked up on this near side, knocked along the halfway line. Adams wins it back. Here's McLean to Cooper. Cooper forward towards Adams, holds off the challenge well. It's good play by Shea Adams, and that'll be a free kick for the Southampton striker. Brilliantly done.
Yeah, you know, good touch, and he's trying to turn. There's no doubt that it is a free kick as he's been taken out. But it's all very tight down there, isn't it? You know, Moldova certainly still working extremely hard to close Scotland down, not finding too much room. It's a very congested midfield at this moment in time.
I think Liam are up round about 16 shots at goal and 7 or 8 on target. So, I mean, that should return you 3 goals, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, another night it is 3 or 4 as it was against the Faroes here in March. Just 1 at the moment. We head towards the final minute of the 90 here in this FIFA World Cup 2022 qualifier. Final minute of the regulation 90 begins now. Long free kick for the Moldovans, headed towards the Scotland 18-yard line. Cut out, cleared by Hendry. Little header on that far side from Ryabchuk. Giving it away though, straight to Patterson. He finds Adams, first time out to that right hand side, comes off the defender and out for a Scotland throw in front of the north stand over there. On the far side, Steve Clarke pacing his technical area, hands behind his back, suited up. And his opposite number, the Italian in charge of Moldova national team. They are normally well organised. Denmark have scored. Well, there you go. Jonas Vind, who was denied at the end of the first half, eventually breaks through the Faroe Islands. They were reduced to 10 men the minute before. Faroe Islands 0, Denmark 1. And for 87 minutes of that game, you're beginning to think, oh, now could the Danes be reeled in? You wouldn't think so now. 5 minutes being added here, and we're into the first of those. With Scotland leading Moldova by 1-0. This isn't done yet. Ryabchuk picks it up midway inside the Scotland half on that far side. Comes back the way into the midfield for Dross. Rolls it into the centre circle for Bolahan. Everyone bar the Moldovan keepers in the Scotland half. It's a poor ball though there by Patterson, and goes out for a throw into Scotland over on that far side. We're in injury time. And some of the Scotland supporters heading for an early exit to try and beat the traffic. It's normally a futile task, as the header's won over there by the skipper Armas and out for a Scotland throw-in. which will be taken by Nathan Patterson. Almost at the end of the first of 5 minutes of stoppage time added on at the end by the Belgian referee. Patterson being told to hurry up by the Belgian referee. Up towards Adams, chests it down, out to that right-hand side for Turnbull. Wins the throw-in further up the pitch. It's a bit level with the edge of the D of the Moldova box.
And that's where you want to keep it. Well. That's where you want to keep it, Liam, isn't it? You know, in the opposition half, you don't want to be sitting back. You don't want to be defending your box too much. Going into the last 5 minutes of the game, you want to try and keep it in their half. Just keep it away from, you know, any mishaps that might occur at the other end.
And they're giving it away of Scotland. It's a chip ball up towards the halfway line, little header into the midfield, but McGregor's there, back to Cooper, who's all the way back to Gordon. The Moldovans have two chasing it. Gordon is to get rid of it out to this near side. It's Tierney's header. Christie helps it forward. Here's Adams. Christie gives chase. Moldova win it back again, winning their fair share of second balls tonight, the visitors. Square ball there to Armas, who collects midway inside his own half. Forward to Dross, left of the centre circle, out to the far side for Ryabchuk. Back to Dross, and now it's with Rata. And shifted out to this right-hand side for Potinish. Back it comes to Bolahan in the centre circle. 2 of the 5 minutes have come and gone. Scotland 1, Moldova 0. The visitors in possession. Dross left of the centre circle, rolls it back into his own half. The first time ball by Bolahan to Potiernish on this near side. Forward it comes there to Janita. It's faded as the second half's gone on. The Moldova number 7. Moldova seeing all the ball here. Scotland happy to let them have it as well. McLean wins it back, but only momentarily. Ryabchuk has it. McLean fouls him. Does he know? The ref's happy with it. McLean's in possession, and then the little ball infield to McGregor, out to the right hand side for Turnbull. McGregor on the overlap, his clubmate wearing the armband now after Robertson went off, the Celtic skipper. Comes off him last, out for a Moldova throw-in on the far side, and the Scotland supporters, whilst not quite looking through the cracks of their fingers, still a nervy little end to proceedings. Nervier than they would have thought or hoped against a side ranked 175 in the world as they make their final change. I thought they'd made their final change, Moldova, but they've got one up their sleeve left down below us. Willie Miller, we played 2.5, halfway through the injury time.
Yeah, you know, if it stays like this, and let's hope it does, you know, Moldova is not, they haven't looked like they can break us down. I think the fans are getting a little bit frustrated because they get most of the possession and we're sitting back and trying to manage the game out.
Classic Steve Clarke this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, it's job done, isn't it, at the end of the day, and I'm sure that's what he'll say. And I think you've got to agree with him. You know, on another night you've scored 4 or 5. Tonight it's not to be, but the 3 points are vital.
And they've won a header there, almost came through towards the 18-yard line. Hanley covers across. Hanley trying his best to win it back for Scotland, but it's Moldova in possession down the right-hand side of the Scotland box with Aramas. Little short ball to the man who's just on, Nicky Klenesco, who was born in Dublin, would you believe? Moldova international. Out to the left-hand side for the Moldovans. They're about midway inside the Scotland half. Fired back to the halfway line, though. I make it about 30 seconds left. Scotland leading 1-0. Moldova in possession up towards the halfway line. Little short ball comes forward and they've got options ahead of them. Out it comes. It's now or never for the Moldovans. It's Ryabchuk, left-hand side. Cross ball comes in. Gordon's got his gloves on it. And that should be just about that. 1-0 Scotland. And I think that's about time up.
Yeah, at this stage, that's the type of cross you want, isn't it? Right on top of your goalkeeper, you know, under no pressure whatsoever, easy take.
Scotland in possession, time added on, in time added on. Patterson down the right, Ryabchuk's there. They did make the change, Moldova, in the injury time, which is why there's a little bit of extra time being added on here from the Belgian official. But that's it, it's done. It's job done. It's 3 points. Lyndon Dykes, the hero, tapping home on the rebound on 13 minutes, and that was enough tonight. It should have been more. It should have been a whole lot more. Tierney, Robertson, Gilmore in the first half all missed golden opportunities. And there were others in the second. Ryan Christie perhaps most notably. Grant Hanley with a couple of free headers. They just couldn't put this game to bed, and in the end it's the final whistle that does it, thanks to Lyndon Dykes' third international goal. And it comes at an opportune moment at the midway point of this group. It looks as though Israel are going to beat Austria going into the closing stages in Haifa with a 4-2 lead. And that is a possible game changer. But Scotland head to Vienna on Tuesday knowing in all likelihood they'll need to take at least a point. It's perhaps not the must-win it might have been because of that scoreline. Don't underestimate the danger of the Israelis in this group. They've proven against the Scots in all those meetings over the last 2.5 years, 3 years, that they can cause their own problems, and they've still to come to Hampden in the second half of this group. But with that result, it has jumbled the group up to some serious stage after 5 matches, with Austria now dropping down to 4th, Scotland up to 3rd, but 2 points behind the Israelis, who played Denmark on Tuesday evening when the Scots are in Vienna. It could be a momentous night for Steve Clarke's side. You'll certainly hope so, because it's been a heck of a long time since they've gone away from home and landed a haymaker against one of their main group rivals. You've probably got to go back to Paris in 2007 to find one. There's been a couple of wins against higher seeds since then in group matches. Croatia and Zagreb, the Czech Republic in Olomouc last year, albeit that was against an effective Czech C team. The Croatia game, the group was gone. They now need to come up with a big result. They need to pull a rabbit from the hat, and it has to come in Vienna. Although now, given the result in Israel, a draw may well be enough. 1 goal was enough here tonight. It finishes Scotland 1, Moldova 0.
Scotland, live on Sports Sound.
A 2022 World Cup qualifier.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Well, it's definitely going to be 3 points for Israel, because during Liam's comprehensive roundup there, Israel got a 5th goal. Aaron Zahavi getting his 2nd on the night, and I think from Liam's figures earlier, that would be 25 international goals and 26 appearances. 5-2 for Israel against Austria. Absolutely astonishing. And it says 1-0 for Denmark. That is a full time. It did look as if the Faroes were going to keep their first clean sheet against a nation of any consequence for about 7 years. They've had a couple against Andorra, one against Malta, a couple against Latvia. But you would really have to go all the way back, I think, to a 1-0 win in Greece in November 2014. They got to within 3 minutes, and that despite having a player sent off, or perhaps as a result of having a player sent off. With that one-man superiority, Denmark did finally get the winning goal in that one. So Denmark with a 1-0 win, Scotland with a 1-0 win. And right now, Israel clearly going to take the points and 5-2 up against Austria. So the live table, and assuming that Israel do indeed finish it off as it is, Denmark 15 points, still yet to concede a goal. Israel have 10 points, Scotland have 8, Austria have 7, Faroe Islands and Moldova 1 point apiece. And of course, those matches that are coming up on Tuesday night: Faroe Islands against Moldova, Denmark against Israel, and Austria against Scotland. Clearly, we're now hoping that Israel don't go and do the unthinkable in Copenhagen, and clearly we have to hope that Scotland can do the thinkable in Vienna and take the 3 points from Austria, which will go a long way, you have to say, to knocking the Austrians out of contention. Right, Stuart McCall, I think you can attest to the fact that I found that a difficult 45 minutes to watch.
Yeah, I think we both did, especially at the end there, Richard. I think, listen, over the piece, we've had 5 really good chances that we've not taken. We had Tierney's header early on, Robertson's shot. In the second half, McGinn had a shot blocked. I thought he could have done better with. Nisbet had a shot save, and then straight after that Gilmore shoots wide in a really good move, but should score. And right at the end, Christie there could have made it a lot easier. Takes it lovely on his left foot, just needs to slot in the bottom corner and blazes over. So it could have been an easier night. I thought second half there were periods of the game that we toiled in, didn't have a great deal of spark, but on the flip side, you take any of them chances, it's a comfortable evening. 5 excellent chances, and even big Hanley's header there I think he should have done better with as well. So there was opportunities to win the game a lot easier than we did. We made it difficult for ourselves and just made it edgy in the last 10 minutes, and as we said at half time, they had nothing to lose. They're going to try to push men forward, although I think the stat there that sums it up the second half is we've had one shot on target and they've had one shot on target, so we've got to do better in there. Certainly shooting practice will be the order of the day tomorrow and Monday and hopefully on Tuesday, but job done in the fact that we've took the 3 points, played okay in parts, and obviously we didn't need Austria to get anything tonight, and that's worked out that way. So a decent night.
Yeah, but unnecessarily nerve-wracking. I mean, that one shot on target was a simple enough save for Craig Gordon. They had all that possession late on and didn't really trouble the defence. And hey, it's a clean sheet, albeit against a team ranked, 175 in the world. It is a clean sheet, and Craig Gordon really hasn't been bothered. But you just gonna look. You're right. We've got the win, we've got the points, and that's absolutely what we needed. But you still kind of get the sense that it should have been an awful lot easier than that. And I appreciate you've explained why, because they've missed chance after chance after chance.
Come on, Richard. We've won. We've moved up a spot. We've gone above Austria. But yeah, I think second half at times was a hard watch. All because you think they're only a deflected shot or give a silly free kick away on the edge of the box, or a big corner and a big man comes on. But and there were some interesting substitutions as well. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if either Gilmore or Robertson were feeling any knocks or strains or anything, because I thought Gilmore, second half was controlling the possession that we did have. He had a good opportunity, should have done better, should have scored. But he looked one that was, getting on the ball for us and making passes. Robertson, I think that's probably the first time he's been brought off in a competitive game.
A quick look back, other than the friendly against Netherlands before the Euro 2020 finals, certainly since he's become captain, I think that is absolutely the first time he's been subbed off in a game that matters.
Yeah, and I think later on in the game, obviously going to it for the last 5 or 10 minutes was like a 5-4-1, as if you're hanging on. We weren't hanging on. The fact that they weren't good enough to create anything against us, but it just had that feeling that we were sort of sinking a little bit deeper, and we're thinking, come on, let's. And they had a little bit more possession. You look at the stats, I think it was only 53-47 possession to ourselves.
I think you subbed off Ryan Christie about 5 times.
Well, every time the board went up, you're thinking, well, it's a midfield, it's got to be Christie coming off. And then it was Gilmore that came off. And then there was another
Dykes
one.
Came off.
And then Dykes came off when we thought. But listen, at the end of it, as I said, it's a big 3 points, one that we expected. I think when you score so early on, 13 minutes in, and then have a couple of chances, Tierney's header 26-minute, Robertson shot 28. You think this is going to be, we just need another goal and they'll cave in. It never materialised, and that is down to poor finishing. And speaking as a former manager, you can do. The lad said it in commentary. You can't do any more. You can't go on and actually make Ryan Christie put in the bottom corner, or make Hanley head it down, and Tierney's header and Robertson blaze over, and Gilmore go wide. They're not half chances. They're absolutely 5 terrific chances. And now we've only got 1 goal. Tonight is disappointing. But 3 points.
Yeah, I know. And it's not even being greedy. It's just not wanting to have to suffer in the way that we did towards the end of that game. Since that little goal rush, the goals against San Marino, Cyprus, Kazakhstan, that John McGinn got the half-dozen goals. So that was 11 goals in 3 matches. That was the end of October 19. We came back November 19. We came back to playing football again eventually after the pandemic, or the worst of the pandemic. 18 matches we've played since then. In only 4 of them have we scored more than a single goal. 2-1 against the Czech Republic C team, 4-0 against the Faroes, and then those 2-2 draws against Austria and Netherlands. So it's not as if this is something that's just crept up on Steve Clarke. It has been an issue for him right the way through his time in charge.
It's been an issue since I was playing 30 years ago.
Oh, since you stopped scoring all the international goals.
Since I got my one and only. But yeah, listen, we've never been prolific in that end of the park. Over the years, we've been diligent, we've been hard to beat. I think we have got, well, we'd like to think we've got more, say, creative players, certainly going forward in certain areas. But there's no getting away from the fact tonight that was hugely disappointing. Not working a goalkeeper. All right, Tierney's headed it down. It said should do better. We know Robertson over the bar. Not even Dykes didn't have a chance tonight. But Nisbet was the only one that stung the keeper's hands in the second half. Gilmore wide, as we said, and Christie, over as well. So yeah. We can't get away from the fact that goal scoring is not our forte, but as long as we get one more than Austria on Tuesday, we'll settle for that.
I mean, to emphasise that, in the entire history of the Scottish international football team, only 23 players have got into double figures for Scotland. I would imagine England have probably had more than that in the past 5 years. And I know it's a significantly bigger nation. In the past, I mean, in that period of time that you talked about, the past... 3 decades. Since Maurice Johnston, I suppose he got to 14 goals. Since then, only John Collins, Kenny Miller, Stephen Fletcher, John McGinn and Stephen Naismith have got into double figures for the international team.
Yeah.
I mean, it is remarkable. And it's just a perennial issue. And you're talking about some very good club goal scorers. Jordan Rhodes, we were all expecting Jordan, 3 international goals. Lee Griffiths, 4 international goals. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. There's no one else I've got there really who we expected to come bursting through in terms of, I mean, even Chris Boyd. But you think of the goals that Boydie scored at club level. 7.
Look what weve done, Richard, in the last 20 odd years. We've not qualified for anything, so we've not been a dominant
Probably
team.
because nobody's been scoring goals,
and also we've not been creating chances for them people up there. And the defenders at the back have been hopeless, and the keepers, honest to goodness. But now we've got a group that
and
can
some of the managers. Don't get me started on some of the managers we've had.
And the assistant managers, they're even worse.
Wow. Tom English, what did you make of that? I mean, I know you're kind of. We've almost embraced you as a Scot. Were you as nervous there as we were here?
I wasn't nervous. No, I didn't think Moldova were going to score, but I just thought
care,
it was.
Do you?
No, I do. I do care. I deeply. I just think it was feeble that Scotland were in that position. That they were there bringing on defensive players, hanging on to the 1-0. I don't think any danger, but it should have been 2, 3, 4. But there they were at home, 1-0. It's a bit of anxiety in the stadium, and it's a win. It's 3 points. All those things that Stuart was saying are absolutely valid. Scotland moved up into 3rd place. All that is good, but all those chances missed. Like against a good team, and Moldova are not a good team. Against a good team, you don't get all those chances. So you might get a quarter of those chances. And Scotland keep missing them. They're not going to win anything. Not against the teams that they need to beat, the Austrias and the Israels. So look, it's 3 points. That's all fine, but the performance wasn't fine. And I'm not buying. I know Steve Clarke will probably come out with this. Oh well, we created loads of chances, therefore the next day we'll score them. I don't buy that. This is, as you said, Richard, this is a problem going on. Long predates Steve Clarke. Mm-hmm. But this is a major problem at the heart of this team. Even when they do create, which they did buckets of chances tonight, they can't convert, and they're missings. Like the Christie one was a disgraceful miss. I mean, it really was awful.
And so unlike him, because normally put him in front of goal, he's normally so composed.
Over the bar.
He strokes it into the net.
Yeah, he strokes it, no composure.
My God, this is depressing.
Well, hey, Mr. Happy, you stay out of this.
Hey, I'm half full. Just bring me in when you're ready.
Right, we will. I will.
It's like a defeat, isn't it? Honestly, it's so flat.
Craig,
what a great night it's been. Austria's just been humped, by the way. 5 goals. And they lost 4 against Denmark. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Craig,
let's be a little bit more positive.
I'm not ready yet, Willie. I want Craig to keep it as low as he possibly can.
Okay.
I mean, clearly it was an issue for you as well, Craig, to find someone who would score regularly.
We haven't, like all those goal scorers that you named are good club goal scorers.
Yeah.
We haven't had a proper international striker for I don't know how long.
Well, I mean, you probably, to be fair, Kenny Miller, although 69 caps for his 18 goals, but actually by some distance the best record of any player in the past 3 decades since Maurice Johnson and Kevin Gallagher.
I would argue that Kenny Miller isn't a top-class international, or wasn't a top-class international striker. I would argue that. I mean, he didn't play in the very top level in England for any period of time. I mean, you're going way back to Kenny Dalglish.
I've got Craig. I've just got my coin speed dialing me at the moment.
I think Maurice Johnson and Ali McCoist.
I thought he was on TV doing some stuff like that.
I think Johnson and McCoist may argue that.
Listen, I think those two would be the closest.
Yeah, and James McFadden, obviously not an out-and-out striker, but James. No, but he had 15 goals.
No, but you understand my
team.
point. Yeah. My point is that we haven't had like an absolute top-class striker for a long time, and so the goals have had to be shared around, haven't they? We need John McGinn to score goals. You need Christie to score. You need Dykes to score. I mean, you need the centre-backs to score at set pieces, because we've not got somebody who, out of nothing, can put you 1-0 in front. We don't have it, and we've not had it for a long, long time.
You look at an Aaron Zahavi. He's got 5 goals in his last 2 games. 5, I mean...
They're just Scottish granny or something.
But that's the type of player that Scotland are missing.
To be fair, James Forrest did that for us 3 years ago. But unfortunately, Zahavi's is part of a run of 25 goals in 26 games.
That's why Israel are second in the group, because they've got goals in their team. I mean, they're a decent side, but they have that guy.
They've got him, and they've got others as well.
They've got 2 or 3 up front, Dabour and Weissman. They're good players. Good offensive players and good finishers. And Scotland don't have good finishers. Scotland get.
Hello and welcome to my vlog. My name's Ishan, and this video is just about a roundup of the end of day 1 for the 3rd test match in the India vs England test series. So I'm just going to be talking about what happened throughout the day. So at the start, India had won the toss and elected to bat. So Rohit Sharma and Kayadar had went out to bat. And then just in the 4th ball of the first over, Kayadar had was unfortunately dismissed by a great ball by Jimmy Anderson and was caught behind by Josh Butler. Then wickets started to collapse for India. Pujara came in, he settled in, but then unfortunately he was dismissed by Jimmy Anderson again. And then their great captain Coyley came in, and everyone thought he would do great, but then unfortunately just after around 15 balls he was again caught behind by Jimmy Anderson. Then Rahan came in, and he tried to see out until lunch, but then a couple balls before lunch Ollie Robertson had struck and took his first wicket. And then after lunch Rishabh Pant had came in. He had faced around 10 balls, but then Ollie Robertson had came in, and he was caught behind by Josh Butler. And then Jadeja came in, and then Sam Curran came into the attack to start bowling for England. And then Jadeja was then got out from LBW from Sam Curran, and then it went into their tail end for India. So Mohammad Shami, Sharma, Bumrah and Siraj. Sharma was bowled out by Chris Overton for his first ball, and then on a hat-trick ball Ishant Sharma came in, but he wasn't out. Then Sam Curran came in again for another over, and he got Bumrah right in the pad for another LBW. And then Mohammad Siraj was out for Overton's 3rd wicket by a catch by Root, I think it was first slip. So then they were fully bowled out for 78, and then England had came in. So Dominic Sibley was obviously dropped by England. So then Hasib Hamid and Rory Burns had opened for England. And so far they've proceeded out played it out until the end of the day. They made 120 not out. So Rory Burns had got 52 and Hamid had got 60 runs. So that's it from this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be making more of these videos every day, just recapping what had happened throughout the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please come back for more. Thank you, goodbye.